He sent us a goodies bag full of Australian candies, all kinds of things. We had a lot more things.
Someone got into
Somebody's got themselves a little sweet tooth.
Man, a lot of them candies. Right? Those were good, dude. My kids really enjoyed them.
Yeah. Welcome to Oil and Whiskey, an Ironclad original. I am Josh Henning.
I'm Phil Gerber.
I'm Jeremy Gerber.
Welcome to Oil and Whiskey, an Ironclad original. Garrett Reed is a car enthusiast, builder, and content creator who founded both American Muscle HD and Weapons Vault on Instagram. Together, they boast more than 2.5 million followers. American Muscle HD features everything from industry news, badass builds, new car and product features, and of course, car-themed memes. Garrett is also known for his 1984 Monte Carlo SS. The car features a Whipple-supercharged LSX376. Make sure to follow American Muscle HD on Instagram for all of your muscle car content. We're also going to do another round of the new segment, Taking Shots, depending on how drunk we are, how many shots we've taken, if we can take any more shots. But first up, I heard it. That was you rang it. Pretty good. It should be on the gas, but we're gonna do we're gonna shift it up a little bit and do a Barrett Jackson recap. Since we all just came back from Barrett Jackson, actually we were just hanging out there, Garrett. We got to know each other a little bit better and get prepped for this this drinking session. And
I'm still recovering from that hangover, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. That was a late one.
Nothing like Barrett Jackson to get the juices and money flowing like booze all day long.
Oh, for sure. That's true.
What was your takeaway out there? What was the thing that you were surprised to see or were not surprised to see?
Well, I didn't think that K5s were going to go for that money that they did. I was thinking this year was the year of Broncos, which it still was, but
I think
every
year's the year of the Broncos.
Oh, well, true. Yeah, Broncos have been going for a little bit, but man, $440,000 for a 72 Blazer is pretty wild.
He's got it though.
I get it. No,
I think after
he's
Barrett
got
Jackson,
a formula.
He's on the Forbes list now for like one of the wealthiest guys alive.
He's got to be
killing it out there.
Yeah, he's got a formula, and people like him. So I don't, I'm not knocking him. It's just wild to see. Like I posted a picture of that today, actually, or yesterday, and obviously there's a lot of people that are very naive to what it takes and how much time and money goes into these builds. Maybe not. It didn't maybe cost them $440,000, but people are like, "Oh, that truck's only worth $40,000." It's like, okay.
Yeah, I spent some time going down that rabbit hole, reading those comments on your post that you did. And there's it's opposite ends of the spectrum. I mean, there's right and wrong, both sides of it. But I will say, over the last couple of years, regardless of the prices, how crazy they've gotten, it does seem like the general buying public at Barrett Jackson is getting a little more educated on the quality. You do see it's not just a Bronco brings X amount of dollars, because a Bronco that's done and executed perfectly, or a K5 that's executed perfectly, brings some pretty damn good money. Other stuff still brings a lot of money, but you can see the discrepancies in the ones that are,
there's always still like the freak factor though.
There
you
is.
ever notice that you bring something that's just wild over the top? If it had 4 doors, put 6. If it had 2, put 4.
Right.
And it's going to bring a lot of money.
Yeah, there's some weirdo stuff.
That makes sense.
It's an old 1930s.
What was the crazy
power
thing for
wagon.
y'all to see? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was say on the weird scale, it's always like the 1930s power wagons that are lifted 6x6s,
a Unimog or something. Yeah. Surprising wise, there wasn't.
I'm surprised you sold your Hummer there on Sunday with the flames on it.
Got to step it up, man.
How did you do on that? Did you come out on top? I mean, LaValle did the flame, right? They were true fire.
Well, yeah. I mean, you factor in inflation of what I paid him way back in the day to do those. Probably break even, probably a push.
Yeah, I got it.
The amount of 4-wheel drive stuff, I don't think was surprising after last year.
It's amazing how quick people can watch something go for big money one year, and then next year there's 50 of them.
Right. I was surprised to see the Corvette still doing as strong. I thought that
not
this would
as strong, but you've got a C2 convertible that goes through for what, $770,000.
yeah, that's
crazy
That's
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
That's out there, man.
Yeah,
And then Kindigs didn't even bring that much money.
right.
Kindigs, we were kind of thinking that was going to tap into that 7-figure mark. I had a feeling
Yeah, I had a
that was
feeling.
going to be the one that goes wild. It's just got the look, you
Right.
know.
It did.
It
I mean,
does.
still did good. He was happy.
Yeah.
I mean, good grief, that's a beautiful car. But I think everything surrounding and the hype, I was kind of like, yep, this is the one that does it. But
Yeah, it only went for what, 550?
yeah, something like that. Five.
I mean, hey, that's still a lot of money. But yeah, again, I thought since it was a Kindig car and it was pretty, that was a really, really pretty car. I was surprised it didn't go for more.
Yeah, you put that one. No offense to the guy that built the that teal green one. The one went for 770, but you put those two together. And, if I had to pick to pay that much money and pick between the two, I'd have picked Kindig's car.
100%.
Yeah, hands down.
Yeah,
Well, the Roadster Shop did all right out there too. Yeah, we brought a truck.
we did.
4x4.
We did bring it.
Yeah, I'd asked y'all because I'd asked y'all how much it went for because I didn't see about it online out, and I don't remember seeing it go across when I was there. I don't know what happened, but
That was a little. It was 8 o'clock. You'd been drinking for a little while.
maybe yeah, it's possible. That's possible.
What'd that go for with the commission?
It's 220.
220 for serial number 1 of the Legends truck.
Not bad for a patinaed square body truck.
No,
The patina
Yeah.
thing, I did realize the patina is a tough thing to overcome out there because the flash definitely sells.
viewed as a negative by a lot of those
Yeah.
guys.
So I think the right people got. He went to an awesome dude, and the truck went from there and drove what 6-7 hours
Right.
up to Pomona.
Oh well, you can't. Hey, even if you didn't get as much as you wanted, the story of just that is cool enough.
Yeah, he's already.
Because how many cars are being sold there, and then the people are driving them 6 hours back home? Probably none of them.
I'll bet you 75% of them don't start when it's time to leave. You know?
Yeah,
Oh, probably.
Judging by the amount of oil and coolant in the staging lanes.
yeah. I think the patina thing. Going back to that, patina is viewed as a negative, and you need to change the narrative. It's original paint.
Right.
Patina's got its own
like
stigma. You know, that's just old and shitty to a lot of people.
Sure. Well, it was
Yeah.
funny. Me and Phil were on the auction block, trucks rolling up, and there was a group of like 3 or 4 dudes up there, and we're kind of just listening to what they're saying. And the two of them, the conversation was, "Holy shit! This is the first piece of crap that's come across the auction block all day."
That's tough.
But the funny part,
They have no idea what they're looking at.
they have no idea what they're looking at, and a lot of the customers that we're building these trucks for, and some of the customers that were out there, one customer actually was the one that bought it, and those guys, that's exactly what they want. They're saying like, "Oh, great, that guy doesn't get it. That's why I want this, so I can drive around and not
Go a little under radar and not be
somebody doesn't
flashy
look at it like I've got money or I'm doing this or anything like that. They want to be able to just drive, have fun, have all the cool things, but still look like a normal truck.
Blend in.
Yeah.
Well, that was kind of what happened with my guys from Mob Steel. They had that 56 Bel Air wagon, which I thought was super cool, right? Had an LS3 swap. They did the whole power tour with it last year, and it only went for $56,000, which, I mean, they weren't upset about. They were fine with it, but I figured it would go for more. But again, like you said, the patina thing just I didn't see very many patina vehicles go across anyways.
Right.
So there wasn't much to really see. That was kind of a style going across this year. So I think people just saw it and they were like, "Oh, what's going on?"
Yeah, I think the Bel Airs, I mean, they may have finally ran their course.
They might have.
Those have been heavy hitters for years. I mean, they've always been strong, but they've been dwindling a little bit. I mean, a Nomad, like a clean Nomad,
Right.
pro touring car or resto mod, used to fetch some big dollars. They're a little soft.
Yeah.
I will say, out of all the things that I saw, the biggest winner out there was Barrett Jackson.
I think they're all right.
By far.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
They won.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. They always come out on top.
Well, aside from the auction cars, I mean, the vendor booths, we were out there displaying. That was a hell of a good show for us. I mean,
Was it?
Yeah, we crushed it out there. So
That's good.
even if we're not out there peddling cars, running cars across the auction block, and we'll be there every year.
It's a great event. They know how to put on a great event.
All kinds of different stuff to look at that we don't get to see on a daily basis in the car show world, and
Right.
a lot different clientele than your average car show as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I tell people all that. Like I went. Obviously, my first year was in 2018, right after I graduated college, because I grew up watching the auctions on TV. And right after I graduated, I was like, well, I have nothing else to do. I might as well just go out to the show. And after going that first time, I was like, yeah, this is something I think everybody has to experience. Like even if you're not there to buy a car, just to go and see, like the whole scene of it is just electric, because you can feel like the money that's in the air. You can see it clearly. And then the cool thing is that every vehicle that goes across the block, every person can get up close and view it. Like they're not, like the high and expensive cars that are in the salon, they're not unattainable. You can still go and see them and enjoy them. You don't have to be in the auction tent with everybody else.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, man. The energy is just like, it's contagious in there. You walk in and you can absolutely feel it. It's a cool place to be.
Yeah, you find yourself being like, didn't plan on buying nothing, but like I kind of just want to buy something just to be a part of it.
Yeah, you walk into like the lifestyle area,
Yeah.
what they call it, and you just like you're like looking for something. You want to spend some money.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know
Yeah.
what, but like I mean, I was ready
Find
to
a
buy. I
painting.
almost bought a fringe leather jacket.
Yeah, I was going to say you were trying on leather jackets. Beat me
I'm
to
just,
it.
I gotta have that.
So the one you
That's
were
fun.
wearing yesterday, you've had that one then? That's not the one.
Yeah, that
from-
was
That's last year's
another one.
purchase.
That's an older model. Right, I was looking at replace that one.
Yeah, the other cool thing, the Barrett Jackson Cup that they brought up, was it last year was the first year of it, and then this year, it seemed like it was drawing the biggest heavy hitters in the industry, car-wise. Pretty awesome deal, big check that goes with it, and got give a big shout out to BBT Fab for taking home the first prize there, the cup.
Don Hardy, also known as Cruisers.
That's what I was gonna say. Don Hardy made his world debut as a car builder.
Yeah, with the
Killing
Riviera.
it
Yeah.
with that Riv.
Riviera is cool. car.
Yeah, that Riviera is gorgeous.
Yeah.
That color was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Brian
Yeah.
Cruz, big fisherman, showed us some good videos of his last fishing trip. So
Yeah, he did.
cool to
He
see
did.
while
What
we're
was
out
he
there.
catching?
That was a
they
trout,
bass or
I believe.
Yeah, that was a trout.
Okay.
I will. It is nice to see the Barrett Jackson Cup coming back around. You know, they had years ago that Cup was out in Reno, and they did some stuff out there. It's good to see that thing coming back to the prominence it once had. So it's cool. I think it's going to be
Heck yeah.
one for the next few years.
Absolutely. You know,
I was even happier because my boy Terry and his wife Sarah both had their Blazer out there.
Yeah, the Twisted Blazer. That thing is
Awesome. Beautiful. Yeah.
dude, I can tell that you do not do dishes at home ever because you wash these and this. I'm sitting here drinking this and it's got soap all over it.
I didn't watch these.
Who did?
The cleaning lady.
Dang.
Give me a minute. I got.
I just grabbed them. They were already dried with the clean dishes, so I just grabbed
Cup
them.
swap.
I apologize. I'll start rewashing them next time.
There you go.
That'd be great.
Garrett's personal content and builds, like his supercharged Cadillac Escalade EXT with all the chop, on his Instagram at Garrett is the name. And for all your pew pew and general LARPing content, go follow at Weapon Vault. Garrett Reed, welcome to Oil and Whiskey.
Man, I appreciate that introduction. That was awesome.
I just read
didn't
it.
know
I
it.
didn't write it.
Yeah. Hey, either way. I mean, just the shout out of it all was cool, man. I appreciate that. I've obviously been a fan of you guys, and obviously I was friend for a little bit, so it's an honor to be on the podcast because I was bugging you for a little bit. I kept seeing all these cool people, and then all the topics y'all talked about. I was like, then I saw the gun when I was like, all right, bro, that's it. You gotta have me on. You gotta get me on here.
Yeah, we've been looking forward to this. We hung out, this last weekend at Scottsdale, and
Yeah.
got kind of get loosened up a little bit, and you realize it was going to be should be a pretty good one.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
Sure,
sure.
it was
A
great,
few
great
interests.
hanging.
Yeah, share just a few interests. What do you got?
Yeah.
Something to drink? What are you drinking?
I do. Some Cavassier cognac. I've been
Here.
on that kind of.
Well,
yeah,
cheers,
I've been
man.
on a little-
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Yes, sir.
We are drinking
All right.
and new for us. This is an Australian whiskey, Starward,
Okay.
twofold. This was sent by a listener that was actually a guest on the listener question season finale of season 1.
Live listener guest show.
Live listener guest show extravaganza,
Call in.
sponsored by Dave Garfield's Liquor Beverage
Emporium.
Warehouse and
Emporium.
So Cam from Hustlin' Auto Detailing over there in Australia. I would say where, but I mean, Close enough. It's
Just
Australia. He sent us a goodies bag full of Australian candies, all kinds of things. We had a lot more things.
Someone got into
Somebody's
it.
got themselves a little sweet tooth.
Man, a lot of them candies. What? Those were good, dude. My kids really enjoyed them.
Yeah. So we wanted to give a shout out to Cam from Hustlin' Auto Detail, and you can check him out on Instagram and say thank you for the candy. Jeremy saying thank you for the candies. Yes. Me and Phil.
You guys should try some. There's still a few.
Is there still a
handful left?
What kind of candy do people in Australia eat?
Let's see what's in there.
See what's left.
What did you like the best out of the ones that you ate?
Oh man, I like the Dunkaroos.
The Dunkaroos?
No, there weren't any Dunkaroos.
Koala yummies?
You just thought that was an Australian thing.
Yeah, they're like little chocolate koalas.
Chocolate koalas.
Yeah. All right. We got
some wrap snacks.
Burger rings.
Nice.
Big burger taste in an onion ring.
Interesting.
Let's
burger rings.
That sounds American. I don't know what. That actually sounds.
I think that's them just trying to like Americanize, you know?
Cheeseburger for fat Americans.
For the Americans
from Australia
that are overweight.
Yeah. And an onion ring. That's wild.
Shapes original pizza cracker. Give that oral.
This is actually really good.
Oh, they're little guys.
Now I'm gonna have to find a way to order something.
I know you gotta get some snacks.
That's not bad.
Damn.
Dang it.
Aeroplane strawberry flavored jelly.
That kind of looks like a prophylactic a little bit.
What is pho?
I don't know. I thought it was going to be Vegemite, but
so
it's
too.
a mighty meal. Scan me for a Vegemite faux recipe.
Oh, that's not.
That's a relabeled Vegemite, I think. Tiny Teddies, chocolate chip teddy bears.
So basically, like
Wheat Bix.
just like snacks we would get here, just named weird things.
Yeah, that looks like that sucks.
Yeah.
An amazing Anzac biscuit. I think that's a yak. And then
So I think it's named everything after the animals they have there in Australia.
Yeah, everything's like pretty on the nose. Yeah.
Mint teas. Those are probably mint flavored.
That would be fair.
They leave nothing to question there in Australia.
Chicken salt.
That's salt for chicken.
Salt, yeah, for chicken.
Interesting.
Not exactly descriptive or anything mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they don't get. There's no creativity to their names.
And that's just a standard. That's an Australian.
Oh, hang on.
Candy
now
cane.
it's an Australian candy cane.
It's Australian.
There you go.
So thanks,
funny.
Cam from Hustlin' Auto Detail.
Get one of these burger rings.
Burger
Pretty good.
things.
Burger
They
rings are good.
hit pretty hard. Those fuckers are good.
And the whiskey's not bad either.
Yeah, the whiskey was really good.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised. Not that I expected it to be bad, but it's really good.
Y'all drink it neat or on the rocks?
Neat.
I don't know if it's just because I'm getting closer to 30, but I just started getting into brown liquor. I don't know. I've always been a beer guy.
I think
It is a sign of maturity.
It's a maturity thing for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I like it.
I wonder when Miranda's going to get past that Bacardio. And
He's old enough that he should have matured. Yeah. More. So
We'll get there.
tell us about your background. How did wee little Garrett get his start?
Oh, that's a great question. So I like the cars have just been, a thing since I was a kid. I have an older brother. He's 8.5 years older than me. And so when we were younger, we always had model cars, or he had model cars. So I was always intrigued with those. And then I always wanted to play with them, but he wouldn't let me because he used to have them up on the shelves and whatnot. So as I got older or whatever, I'd get my own. And then once I started to read, I would read, I forget the name of these. I looked them up not too long ago, but they were like these pamphlets that you could put in a 3-ring binder. And they would basically highlight all of the most popular cars of like the late 90s, early 2000s. It had a particular name and I can't remember, but like the Bugatti EV110, the first gen Viper, the C5 Corvette, all those kind of cars. And it had all the specs about them. And I could tell you front to back everything about those cars. And that's kind of
0 to
like
60 wheelbase, curb weight.
Yeah, all that stuff, everything. It had all the statistics. And so I would get, read those front to back. And then obviously as I got older, go to car shows, whatever. And then I guess you just fast forward to the start of the social media thing. It was really just a I don't know, just a shot in the dark. I didn't really think much of it. I just was like, it was new to me. You know, Instagram was brand new. The only other social media platform that was around at the time was probably Facebook. MySpace had gone away, and I never got into MySpace. So I said, the heck with it. I was just in starting college, and I didn't know what to do. I started a page and started just posting pictures, and you know, as they say, the kind of rest is history. I don't really remember any of the milestones because I've been doing this for so long. But I remember at one point it just caught on. I was getting followers, and I was like, man, this is cool. And you know, I remember that. I do remember the first big company I ever worked with was Chevy Performance. They followed me, and I was blown away. I was like, there's no way, man. And I remember I met up with one of their guys at on Power Tour, I think in 2014. And they kind of took me under their wing, and I got to do some events with them. Like I did Woodward Dream Cruise. I got to go to Detroit when they unveiled the 6th Gen Camaro in 2016. So it was honestly just a happenstance thing that I just got in at the right time and kept at it. And
cool. How surreal of a moment is that? Where you're like, you're doing your Instagram thing, and then Chevrolet Performance follows you, and then you're at the Woodward Dream Cruise with them. You're kind of like, man.
Yeah, it really happened that quick. You know, because I met them on Power Tour. Yeah, I met them on Power Tour that summer in June or whatever. And then Dream Cruise was in late August, early September, something like that. And it just in that short period of time, they had me up there in Detroit, and it was super cool.
Damn, dude, did you ever think going into that this could be a career, or were you just simply posting shit that you thought was cool?
That's literally all it was. I remember the first picture I ever posted to is because I don't know if you guys remember the evolution of Instagram. Instagram was only a picture app, and you could only post 1-by-1 pictures. You couldn't do, you know, landscape or anything. It had to be 1-by-1. So there really weren't apps out there to optimize images to make them square. You just had to find an image that was already 1-by-1. So I remember going on Google and just finding a picture. It was a 2006 Holden or Pontiac GTO. It was orange, burnt orange. And that was the first car I'd ever posted. And all I remember was that the hood and the trunk were cut off because it wasn't a squared image. And I remember like the first couple of weeks, like most of the pictures were like that because I didn't know how to frame the pictures up.
So that was when you're like, hell yeah, I'm going to be a fucking superstar.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm
going to be somebody famous in this thing in 10 years from this. No, I didn't know anything. I just, like I said, I had no preconceived plans. I just was doing it just because really what kind of kickstarted me to want to do it was there was a local car show I'd go to on Friday nights, and there was a guy there that had a truck page that he had been doing for about a year, and he had 14,000 followers, and I was like, good grief, that's a lot of followers, and I was like, that's crazy. And so then that kind of gave me some of a motivation to say like, oh well, maybe I could do the same thing but with muscle cars, and so that's what I did.
Yeah, dude, 2.2 million followers. I mean, that's like, you're basically like a Kardashian at this point. I mean, that is some serious ass followers.
Well, at the early stages like that, I mean, there wasn't really monetization, or I mean, I guess you're not knowing about monetization at that point. I mean, you're working a job, right? When you're doing all this?
When I was in college, I did I worked at a classic car dealership, consignment dealership in Atlanta part-time. Yeah, for about 2 or 3 years of college. Yeah. When does the Instagram thing start paying money? It was actually paying money while I was working, believe it or not. Early on, like the manufacturers and the companies in the industry weren't necessarily paying, but there was companies that were doing like e-commerce and stuff like that were probably peddling. Most of them were peddling things that weren't necessarily related to automotive.
Yep.
But they were seeing the value in my followership. And so they were paying me to promote their products. And the money was really good back then. Like I didn't realize it until now, but like the money was actually really good for somebody that was in college, running an Instagram page, So having that, and then also having, the income from my part-time job at this dealership, it wasn't too bad. So
what level of followers did you have to get to before the first check comes rolling in?
Ooh, that's one of those milestone questions. I don't know if I can remember. I would say probably at least like around 50,000, between 50 and 100,000. It was probably when it was probably starting to ramp up, is my guess.
That's about where you're at on your OnlyFans page, isn't it, Josh? You're like 55,000, close to that, or
Yeah, but that's subscription based, so I get that money regardless. You know.
Oh yeah, he's getting paid.
Silver_Fox. Is that what you're still?
No. Hey, if that's not a thing, it sounds like it needs to be a thing. That sounds too good, bro.
I appreciate that. Got to start something out for season 2, don't we?
You're selling them feet pics, man.
Fuck, I had a question too.
I actually kind of like that one.
I know you because you got yourself tickled laughing. Now, when this goes on, are you studying everything you can about social media and getting with ads and everything about it? I mean, that because it's moving fast back then in those days, and there really wasn't a rule book. Everybody was kind of figuring it out as they went.
That's kind of how I was, man. I really didn't put much effort and energy into learning it. I would just go along with the punches. I would figure out what's working at the time. And it really, okay, so this is the thing. Back in the day, it was so easy to gain followers because, again, you got to think it wasn't as saturated as it is now. So there wasn't many people like me doing what I was doing. So if people wanted to follow a car page, I was one of only a few, right? So that was easy. And then there also just wasn't like an abundance of like followers in general, just people on the app. So anybody that wanted to follow anything cool, I was kind of at the forefront, which was easy. So I didn't really study it much, to be honest with you, because it all was just coming so easy to me, getting in it so early. And that's kind of how I've been really the whole entire time, because unless you work for Facebook, nobody knows how any of this stuff works, especially nowadays. They update stuff so often and they change the algorithm so much. You kind of just have to stick with what you've been doing for so long, and you can tweak it here and there to try to figure out what works if things aren't working the same as they have been. But at the end of the day, at least for me, because I've been doing this for so long and my page is kind of established, I just keep doing me. I don't even pay attention to much anymore, You can't, because then you get annoyed when it doesn't work right.
Chasing your tail.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's got like an insider track on what they think needs to be done. And if you ask 20 people, you're going to get 20 different answers.
Right.
And it's kind of like nobody really seems to know what's going on. So just do you. It seems.
And then nobody actually works at Facebook because you can't call nobody. It's just an AI or a computer. So it's just like, you might as well just do what you want to do.
Did you have in the early days of, especially like reposting other shops and looking at other stuff, did you have any type of thought process of like, well, this is a great picture, I know people like Fords or like people Chevrolets, I'm going to repost this? Or is it just strictly come across a shop, they're building something, you're like, that's badass, repost, I'm going to do that, give them a tag?
Yeah, I think that's really what it was. It was because obviously I can't tell exactly, especially in the early stages, what people wanted to see. So I would just go based off what I liked. So I would find these shops like you guys or whoever else, and I would see what you're building. And if it was cool, if it was a cool car, I reposted it. But what I did learn early on, when pictures were obviously still like the forefront of content, if it was an all black car, it did triple what any other color car would do. So if you get like a all black 57 Bel Air, or you get an all black, 54 Chevy 3100 that's lowered on some wheels, or a 59 Caddy, anything all black, it would do immensely better than anything else. I don't know why. People just like all black stuff, but that was a thing for a while. It was a weird little time. It was like if you wanted a lot of likes on a picture, you posted an all black car.
I'll be honest with you. When I first came across American Muscle HD, this was probably, I'm guessing here, but I'm thinking that it was probably around 2015, something like that.
Okay.
And I mean, it was just all kinds of cool ass cars, pictures, and stuff like that. But it was the name American Muscle HD,
heavy duty, right?
Oh no, heavy. But I didn't know that there was like a guy behind it. Right. It seemed very like.
It's
like a foreign entity coming in and being like, well, we're just going to repost all these cars. It was very much like...
You thought there was like a call center in India?
Yeah, it was almost kind of like... And then you started like, every now and then you drop it, like there was a personality behind it. And then I was like, oh, so there's like a dude. Like,
well,
he's into this. He's into this shit.
The personality is important because I'm like one of those guys that really doesn't follow much of anything because I can't really operate electronics to save my life.
Tell us more.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. We'll just, I'm just kind of laying the groundwork. But I mean, knowing you and hanging out with you, I mean, you're a cool dude. I'll be all about it. I'll be following that and checking it out. I think a personality.
I appreciate that.
I think a personality is pretty important. To have a face to the.
Right. So it's not just like an algorithm or AI or something that's just pushing things to sell extended car warranties or something like that out of it. But yeah, it's crazy. And seeing your other interests and stuff like that. When did the weapon vault thing come around? When did you decide to do that?
So full disclosure on the weapon vault thing. So it's actually, I had a buddy of mine I went to college with, and then we actually met because we both did the Instagram thing. Believe it or not, it was a weird story. We lived in the same city, and we didn't realize it until one day I hit him up and I was like, hey, I asked him some question or whatever. I was like, where do you live, bro? And he was like, Kennesaw, Georgia. I'm like, no way, dude, I live in Kennesaw. And he was like, I was like, where do you go to school? He said, Kennesaw State. Lo and behold, we were in the same class in college, and we didn't realize it. But anyways, the weapons page is actually his. And then about 3 years ago, he wasn't. I was on it and looking at it, and I realized he hadn't been posting on it for like 6 months. And I asked him, I was like, bro, what are you doing with the page? Like, I feel like I could, benefit and do something with this. And he was like, all right. So he let me run it. And he said, anything I get from it and do from it is on me. And so that's kind of what I've been doing the last 3 years. I basically took everything I learned from doing the car thing and just applied it to the gun thing. So it actually was able to get me further along in that industry because of 7 years of doing automotive and then just applying what I learned and just supercharged it, no pun intended, to the gun thing. So that's how that kind of came about.
What type of similarities have you seen in the fan and audience of both pages? Because I'm not as into it as you. I'm not running pages and I'm not seeing comments, but it's also a very big hobby of mine.
Yeah, you're pretty deep into that world.
And it's amazing that it's not just the car world that you have super opinionated posters on the internet. Everybody's an expert in no matter what.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. That's the crossover. It's like you can't post anything without somebody saying that they know something more than you do. And it's like, dog, that's fine. If you know something more than me, that's fine.
Right.
Hey, I'm only 28. I don't know much.
Well, what's funny is when it's a picture, right, and a very brief description. You haven't really said anything for somebody to argue with. All you're basically doing is posting content, and it could be a picture of a new FN, or it could be a picture of, Chevy's new Camaro. And instantly it's like a calling card for everybody to be like, I hate it. That sucks. Glock for life.
Yeah, accurate.
It's instead of being like, either like it or don't like, or just look at it and scroll just past if you don't like it.
Exactly. Just like it and move past. It's like that whole saying where it's like, you'd be on the internet and you say, oh, I love apples. And then somebody will come and it's like, oh, so you mean you hate oranges? It's like, no, I never said that at all. I just said I like apples.
But why is that a calling? Why is it a call to action? Now, we've seen in social media an actual call to action goes crazy, right?
Yeah.
But a non call to action post where it's just here's a black truck. Here's a black truck on a Tuesday. Right?
And then you get
Chevys suck. Tuesdays suck. I like Monday. Black's the worst color. Like you haven't asked anybody any questions, and they instantly. And then the guy below that, he likes what you just posted. Now he has to tell that guy how stupid he is because that truck is awesome.
I honestly think the people that comment the negative stuff, and I hate to say that, I just think they don't have any friends. They just feel like they need to.
It's quite possible. I'm always curious. The gun thing, I think it probably brings out a lot more like the experts, every time I see a comment on there, I picture the dude in like cargo pants that's at the gun store. The guy you see that he picks up every gun and instantly into his combat stance. That thing's rolled over on its side. He racks it. He's
far from expert.
Yeah, he'll never buy it because he's probably got a lever action 22 at home that his grandpa left him. But
Well, he's showing off to that salesman in the gun store, right? Just like we go to an SRA, right, and set up a booth, and the guy that comes through there and is never going to buy that chassis, but is also going to show his knowledge in cars, and then pull out the picture, of one that's just like it, although different, or the truck.
I airbrush version on his T-shirt that he's wearing.
I hate to tell you, like, we should have a moment of silence because the last of those guys passed away last month. They no longer take out like the Polaroids in the albums.
It's over.
It's finally. I think it's finally
done.
I haven't seen him anymore.
Now they try to operate their cell phone. And try to find
I got the
pictures.
cell phone guy at Barrett
when
Jackson.
was the last time you got that little Walgreens photo album that came out of the front pocket? It's been a while now. Been a couple.
That was before my time. I have never in my life seen that at a car show.
You're too young.
Oh man, that was the thing. They'd come up and they'd come up to the booth, right? And they'd ask you a question, and it doesn't matter. They could say, "Is that for a Tri-5 Chevy?" And you could say, "Absolutely, it is." Let me show you my Studebaker. And it's for, like you said, front pocket. Do you remember getting film developed and having actual pictures?
Yeah.
All right, so that like yellow or white, like you said, either Kodak or Walgreens, whatever, flip top, pull the pictures out and then start scrolling. And they're always date coded. Remember on the bottom, you could see when the picture was taken.
Yeah.
And he's showing you pictures of a car that had nothing to do with what he just asked about. And he has really no question or need anything for that car. It's just to show you.
That's the only reason he came by. He set himself up to show you the pictures.
It's the same guy that says, "Let me see that, Benelli off the shelf," right? And he wants to show you that he knows how to operate it, right? He's going to rack it real quick. He's going to know how to shoulder it, appreciate it, and hand it back to him. Has no intentions of buying it. He's just showing his knowledge. And I mean, I guess that to some, that's...
Now, Phil, you would know this, but do you think that's the same guy that's measuring from the cowl hole back to the brake pedal pivot on a Model A chassis?
You gotta tell Garrett about this.
All right,
I think that's a different guy. They're both wearing straw hats, and New Balances. But
we've done a lot of car shows,
I can tell.
There would always be the guy.
We get guys who'd come in with a tape measure, no pencil, no piece of paper, and take 7 or 8 different measurements and just hold the tape measure up. And as soon as they get there, all right, pull it up, go measure something else, and they're going to design an entire suspension based around a bunch of quick measurements that they did not write down.
No, didn't write it down, didn't do anything.
I'm telling you, it was
just measuring it.
Now that the street rod days have kind of come and gone, I mean, at least for us, we didn't do a lot of those chassis. We don't see it as much because it was, I'm telling you, there's something about that brake pedal pivot location.
Yeah.
And that in 4-bar lengths.
Yeah.
You never know. The guy could have been a savant. He could have just had like a really photographic memory. You never know.
If I have the pen and paper and tape measure there, I can't remember from when I measured it to write it down.
Yeah, me either, man. Me either.
What's it like at the SHOT Show? I know you're just out there. Is
Dude,
that
we should go to that.
We should definitely
yes,
go to that.
we're gonna go one year.
I agree. Y'all should go. It's honestly it's overkill. It's just like SEMA for the, like, if you've never been. I went once before this year. So coming in this year, I knew kind of where I wanted to go, what booths I wanted to go to. But when you first go, it's a overabundance of like just stuff. And it's just like, you never thought there'd be that many companies that could develop an AR. You know what I'm saying? It's like, good grief. I don't, how is your AR any different than this guy's AR? Unless you're like a major company.
Right.
It's kind of crazy. But the cool thing about SHOT Show is that you do end up finding a lot of those companies, like those smaller companies that make a really cool, like, specific product. You're like, man, that's actually really neat. But the problem is that you have to actually go out and search those guys, because like upstairs of the main lobby or the main floor is all of the big wigs, all the big, honchos. So they're all the stuff that you normally see. You have to go down to the lower level, the basement, to the little small booths. And that's when you see all the kind of intuitive and innovative things that you never thought you'd ever see or need. You may still not need it, but you'd be like, oh, that's cool.
The guys that haven't got the government contract yet.
Those are the ones
right.
with the serial numbers filed off and the
the
hockey tape on
different basement.
Different basement. What is the Aura and the, I guess the, SEMA, you've been doing it for a long time. You know that once you kind of start learning everybody, and it's a different story. But initially there's a lot of ego. There's a lot of testosterone. There's a lot of, my car's better, my company's better, we're better. I didn't see what you built, but I guarantee it's shit. like that instant kind of thing. I think we've come a long way over the past.
I agree.
8-9 years.
Yeah, I think
there was a lot of that.
You curious if the gun industry is the same
if the
kind
shot
of vibe?
shows the same thing. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of inclusiveness. I think a lot of the people at the big brands are actually friends with one another. It's like you guys at the shops, right? The guys that own the shops, and you all know each other. You know, you got, Goolsby and Ring Brothers and, whoever, Kendig, you guys all know each other. So, I mean, yeah, it's competition, but there's friendship in there too. I think that's how it is with a lot of the big companies because they've been around for so long. You got guys that have been at Glock, or you guys that have been at FN and Springfield and Walther that have been there for so long that they've come together at these shows so many years, they can't help but be friends. I think you see more of, and this is the thing that's so funny. I don't know if you guys are going to have a question about this, about content creators, but you see more of the drama between content creators than you do the manufacturers, right? That's where you see like kind of the headbutting and whatnot. But other than that, I think it's pretty chill at SHOT Show.
So you've got a butting of the heads between content creators at the SHOT Show in the gun industry. There's yeah. Really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. People are weird about that, man. I think even more so than the car industry because, people have a different understanding or different level of what a gun person is, right? So you got like you got the girls that are like the gun bunnies. They're like they're fine, but all they do is post pictures of lingerie holding the gun. They don't know how to shoot, right? Then you got girls like Lena Milicic, who's daughter of Jerry Milicic.
Badass.
She's a shooter. She's a shooter. So you got the differentiation there. So where people don't take these gun bunnies seriously, they're just there as a pretty face and whatever the case may be. The same way you got, just guys in the that are doing it too. It's like, I don't know if anybody has a problem with me. I haven't given anybody a reason to have a problem with me, but mainly because I kind of I do my own thing. I'm not trying to be the next Jerry Milicic. I'm not trying to LARP or anything like that. I guess that's what I'm doing, but I just do it because I just do it because I like guns, and that's all I'm trying to do. I don't know the technical specifications. I couldn't tell you about bore axis and MOA and all that kind of stuff. I just know how to shoot. I just like to do it. So you're never going to catch me trying to fake the funk, so to speak, and try to act like I know anything. I'm just going to show you what I know, and if you like it, cool. If you don't, whatever.
I think that's a good segue into Phil's biggest question about the gun industry, and that's why every single thing, whether it be a part, a designation, anything to do with firearms in general, has to be an acronym. Everything has to be initials, no matter what.
Like the entire alphabet.
What it is.
Yeah, just call it what it is.
Every single thing. If it's a sight, if it's everything is.
I got an AR-15 with an AFG and a CQB brace and a SN-47
It's
XLR.
difficult to learn it when people are getting into it. There's a lot of that intimate, tribal knowledge and stuff. It is crazy.
Yeah. Josh is like a savant here that just remembers like everything. It's this perfect world for him.
He's Rain Man when it comes to guns. Which, dude, this is like the greatest thing for me because I have to learn and pay attention to nothing. Like anytime I want something badass, I'm like, hey Josh, I want something that's like this long, that's fucking really nasty, that's like shoots like bigger bullets than the other one I got. Like set me up with something cool, man.
Got you.
And next I get an email with like, buy this, and this, get it from here because this one's back ordered. You need this. This is the cool guy stuff. If you really want to be badass, add this.
Yep.
You're good at it, dude. You know your stuff.
I will say the
Gotta
cool
have a
thing
guy like that around.
Yeah.
The cool thing about the gun industry, a lot of the pages that you go on, they'll show a gun and then call out all the parts and tag them so you know where you can kind of go and get them from. I don't feel like you don't see a lot of that in our industry.
No, everybody's kind of being
hold a little closer to the chest.
Secretive of it. It took me the time to figure out to build these, but it's also a little different. I don't know. I guess it is. Maybe it's not. You're still looking. Nobody wants to ever admit. There's some guys that admit in the gun industry too, as far as like what we're putting together and building. And I say building in air quotes because we're really not building anything. We're just putting things together. But the look is super fucking important because none of us are utilizing these really, unless we're professionals, are utilizing these to their fullest intent or what they were designed for or anything like that. But we see some things and we want it to look that way. and hopefully it performs really well, you know, but there's that stigma of, no, I want the mall, you know, because I do run night vision. Well, what night vision do you have? Well, I don't have night vision yet, but like, and it's, I mean, but at the same time, just admit that like that fucking box looks cool on the front. I mean, the new EOTech that just came out, I'm like, that's fucking cool. I got to have one of those, you know, the on the OWL, I mean, not the OGL, on gun laser or whatever.
So I got to ask you a question then. Like, I'm not going to name names, and you're going to push me to name names. You're going to be like, okay, so like, who are you talking about? But in the car world, like, I can envision, let's say you've got a 69 Camaro. I can see outfitting it with many things that I would look at and be like, yeah, I'm not like really a fan of that car at all.
Yep.
And it might be perceived like not the coolest if it was at a car show. Can you do that same thing with a gun? Like a guy gets an
100%
an AR and he shows up at the range with a bunch of like cool guys. Is there things you can outfit that with that you would be frowned upon?
If you put the wrong,
there are AutoZone.
That's a good way of putting it. Right.
Yeah, there are AutoZone accessories.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely they are.
So what's the worst thing you can put like on your AR that's just going to get you like beat up?
I would think like anything over 8 power scope on like an 8-inch barrel is pretty fucking stupid. But I mean, there's guys out there that do it, but it's not more like one part that you're like, holy crap. I mean, well, I will say a full blown break on like an 8-inch barrel or whatever, because they want to go shoot flames and stuff like that. That's pretty fucking stupid. And it's going to get you thrown.
I got one then.
Thrown out.
What about, let's say you got that thing Cerakoted, laser etched with the Punisher on the side of it, the Punisher logo.
I don't like that, but there's a lot of guys out there that do.
I'm reading between the lines here. I think I know where he's going. He really wants to buy that Canik Miami Vice themed gun.
Oh, yeah.
He just doesn't know if you're going to think it's cool or not.
No.
Hey, listen,
that's where I was going next.
Listen,
there was like a white one.
Garrett,
Canics are good pistols. I'm not saying I'd buy the Miami Vice one, but I'm saying they're good shooting pistols. I don't know if y'all were throwing shade, but those are good shooting pistols.
They are good
great
pistols.
triggers.
No, I was throwing shade on the Miami Vice.
The look is
right on.
He's on a huge like 80s, 90s neon thing here for the past couple months.
It's a midlife crisis going on.
We were walking through the gun store, saw that, like, oh, he's going to buy that for sure.
Those would what we'd fall into, like they call range toys. So they give you kind of like a pass of like, if you're just building something for fun to go to the range and have fun with, and you want all these bright colors. The problem is whether it's right or wrong, the stigma is always about like the good stuff is military grade, right? And you're building it to go to war. So if it's not war ready, or if the service members aren't actively utilizing that sight or this piece, it happens a lot of times on the sight stuff. It's like, I mean, Holosun's a great company, and some of that shit is fucking awesome. But at the same time, it's instantly, if it's not EOTech, if it's not Trijicon, if it's not this, it's less than, and that's fine for a range toy because it's probably not going to hold it. And that's just, I guess, the kind of the differences.
But to your point, like, right, none of us, unless the world falls apart, which is a very strong possibility these days, it's very rare. It's basically zero that we're ever going to put, like you said, we're going to put these guns to their full potential. And it's like, are we as individuals that aren't in the military, are we capable? You know what I'm saying? The guns themselves, as long as it doesn't jam, the gun's going to be capable. It's just like, are we capable?
Right.
You know, at the end of the day. So it's like, man, I try not to, I get how, you know, people can take how a certain gun looks and be like, whatever. Cause I've done the same thing. I'm like, I wouldn't have done that myself. But it's like, end of the day, bro, we just out here having fun. You know, just out here shooting, just to enjoy shooting. And we do training. Like I actually, that's one thing I want to get into more, is actually doing like actual training courses. Like I want to do more CQB stuff. Cause that's actually a lot of fun. I did a course down in Florida last year. We did a daytime, and then we did one at night with night vision. And I don't know if you've ever done a night vision close quarter combat, but you, during the daytime, or when you don't have night vision on, you have 120 degrees of full vision out of your peripheral and then direct focus. When you have night vision, you have dual nods on, you only have a third of that in each quadrant that you look. So when you're looking out, you only have 1/3 of 120 degrees of vision. So what you would normally see when you walk into a room, you have to break that into 3 quadrants. So what you could normally do fast without nods, you have to go that much slower because those sections you can't see because it's that hyper focused. It was honestly a really cool experience. Yeah.
But to go back to what you were saying about are we capable and need to do the training? I've got these guys talked in. We're gonna do a couple of sessions of training this year. We've got it set up. We're gonna do some cool shit.
Awesome.
But to bring it back to the car world, are we capable? We've seen that. I think we've progressed as an industry, obviously as a company, and definitely for the customers and their wants and needs. But you rewind back 5, 6, 7 years ago about what customers were wanting on their vehicles for the look, right? Sure. Versus what they could do. I mean, there's vehicles we still build with some of these parts on it, but it's a different type. But for the most part, the guy that comes in and says, I want to build a really cool Camaro, but I want to have these carbon ceramic brakes, or I got to have 1,400 horsepower,
18-way adjustable coil.
Yeah, and I got to have all of the adjustment. And what is this? They're doing that because most of the time they're not capable of utilizing those components to their full capability, but they also are looking at that's the cool guy things.
Well,
right?
It was like an eye opener for me. I talked to you guys about it because I dig guns, right? I've got some cool stuff, but you've steered me towards like making them cool. When I jump on a site or I want to put something together, I'm that guy that's going to put that like crazy optic on that short barrel, right? Because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But it definitely opens your eyes to like, it's super easy. Like a guy that, maybe has a few exotic cars or maybe was into boats and now he's getting into cars that comes into this industry. I mean, dude, how do you know? There's a big learning curve for what do you put on that? Right. How do you know not to put a
LED light up cup holders?
Well, yeah. How do you know not to put a 4L60, like a GM Performance Parts 4L60 behind a 2,000 horsepower Nelson twin turbo motor?
Right.
You either live and you learn, or you have the direction.
Right.
You put the thing in drive behind 2,000 horsepower, it's just going to grenade. You'll have 4 neutrals. Yeah. But or you have the direction of guys like you that will tell the person or tell the customer like, hey, like that's not going to work.
And each individual part in and of itself isn't going to make it happen. It's the collective. I mean, from the gun side of things, we put together his latest gun was a Honey Badger. We put together a Honey Badger. Oh, nice. We did Trigicon MRO with a Unity tactical riser, got great mod light on it. With all that stuff set up and you get the ergonomics right and the sight's in the right spot and everything's dialed in, that's a fun gun. Yeah. It's an amazing gun. Everything works together. It's not about because it has this part on it that looks like this that makes it run. It's the things together. No different than 69 Camaro, spec chassis, the right motor, the right wheels and tires. The sum of the parts is what matters. Everything put together right. But
then you gotta prevent that guy. Like I'm the guy that wants to put like the Rambo survival knife bayonet on the front of that guy.
I know.
You gotta be like, dude, you don't do that. Save that. Maybe just get the Rambo knife. Put it like on its own.
Just put it on your hip. Just put it on your hip.
Well, I mean, the guy that's building the Camaro, not to come back to it again, but that wants that chassis and wants, okay, cool, the spec chassis is what I need. We're going to do these 13-inch brakes front and rear and all stuff. But I'm telling you, I really want like an 88 millimeter turbo. I've seen these 88 millimeter turbos and I want to put that on my Crate LS3. That's the guy you're like, listen, what you're wanting is a little bit more power, but if you're just wanting to see a big ass turbo, it's not going to work really well with the rest of the parts.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, the crossover, if you start. I never even thought about it before until we start talking about it.
It really helps you get a better understanding of like your own product line and our industry when you reference it to something that you don't know a lot about.
When you put yourself as a consumer in something that you have very limited knowledge about, and you're constantly trying to consume information and learn more about it, it does make you look at your product, like you said, and how are we giving this information, to the customer, and as what are their questions? We take for granted so much stuff.
Yeah, when you know about a particular thing, for sure.
Yeah, well, let's bring this full circle. How do you apply that to Instagram, social media? When you're posting stuff, are you conscious of like, I'm going to put stuff out there that everybody's into? Or are you just specific, like, I want the highest end pro touring cars, professionally built stuff? Or are you you pander into these guys, cater into these guys, just dropping little tidbits that everybody's going to like?
That's a great question. So at one point in time, well, it's okay. So one thing that I tried to do the best with my content is I just wanted it to be the highest quality. Like I just wanted the highest quality images, the highest quality videos. And that was what I focused on because I just wanted it to present that way. It's the same way with how you guys build your cars, right? You want to present the highest quality, right? So it didn't necessarily matter if it was a pro touring, like a high-end pro touring car, so long as it was high quality images. So there was a time where I was taking like user submission photos, but it's like, and I would be clear about it. Like I'd be pretty, I would put capital letters. I mean, like I need good quality pictures or videos, and people would still send me pictures from like a Motorola phone from 2003. I'm like, dog.
Dude, you got to tell Mike Ring not to do that, right?
Man, he doesn't even do that.
Yeah, he doesn't have a phone on, or he doesn't have a camera on his phone.
He would put a picture from one of those Polaroids and he'd wrap it around a carrier pigeon and he'd send it to you that way.
That's dead on.
That's how you get a picture from him, man. I'll tell you what. It's funny. I say that like I've known the man for a long time. I actually just met him at SEMA this past year, but he seems like a nice enough guy. I can joke with him that. But
that's cool.
I think he uses his phone as a sanding block.
Yeah,
on the backside of it.
Yeah, that inner cove on the Camaro fenders. You know,
he's probably got one of those Nokia bricks that you can't blow up. Like it's them and cockroaches that are going to survive. You know, the apocalypse. You know what I'm saying?
I used to rock the hell out of a Nokia.
Yeah.
I had one too. That was my first phone. It was a pay-as-you-go phone. My mom put minutes on it, and all I had to do was call her when I got home from school. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And then you play Snake on the bus. That's it.
Remember Snake?
That's Nokia. You drop an iPhone now, and that thing just shatters.
It's shattered.
You could set it down on the table too hard.
Yeah, I think I've dropped one of those Nokias off like the
Sears
40th
Tower
story.
It was fine.
Just nothing.
I'll be down there in a second.
Yeah.
You got to worry about the crack in the concrete at that point.
Right.
So on the quality of the pictures, is that still the drive now, or is it more about the content versus the quality of the picture?
Oh, I still try to well, the problem is now is Instagram's changed so much that they don't even promote, like they don't push and highlight pictures anymore. I don't know if you've paid much attention. It's mostly video content. They're trying to combat with TikTok, right? So it's the short form, 30-second to minute 30-second long videos that is really what is, grabbing the attention of people. So a lot of times, if you go back and look at my account now, it's not a lot of, picture content of vehicles. It'll usually be memes or it'll be video content. And I hate that because, I know a lot of professional photographers, or I take pride in my photography, the little bit that I do, to where it's not even, given enough credit anymore, at least not on Instagram, because that's not what they're pushing. So
do the picture as a reel like everybody's doing.
Exactly. But going back to the quality thing, it's the same thing with videos. I don't want a video that's all pixelated. I want something that's clear. It's no excuse anymore these days, that a video can't be good quality because these phones are just as good as a $10,000 camera.
Yep.
You shoot 4K on a cell phone. It's crazy. So, there's no excuse for it anymore.
Yeah, I'm 4K and HD only. I'm not fucking with any VHS anymore.
No RCA, no more RCAs, no more RCA cables.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Hey, production quality matters sometimes.
Yeah.
100%.
So tell us about the Monte Carlo. I don't know if these guys know the full story or even what happened to that thing and getting it back and all that, but how did it come about? Have you had that car for a while, or what happened?
Yeah, I've had that car for 4 years. I got it in, what year is it? 2023. I got that car in, it's going on 5 years. I got it in 2017. Dang, it's been almost 6 years. That's crazy. There's no way. Anyways, 2017 December is when I got that car. And I remember being at LS Fest. And it was the first year I went in 2017. And I was talking to Bill Tishner. I don't know if y'all know Bill.
I don't know him.
Okay. So I was talking with him and he asked me, he said, do you have a car here? And I said, or do you have a car, like a hot rod? I was like, no. And he called me lame. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So that kind of lit a fire to my butt to be like, all right, well, I can't be lame to build tensioner. So I remember them telling me right after that, he was like, well, if you decide to get something, let us know, and we'll get you hooked up with some stuff. And I said, cool. And it was at the same time that I know this is somewhat of y'all's competitors, so don't hurt me too much. But Detroit Speed at the time as well was like, we're pushing, G-body stuff and third gen stuff. And I was like, all right, well, I don't necessarily see myself in a third gen Camaro. But I had driven, working at that classic car dealership, I had driven around some Monte Carlo, some Grand Nationals, and I was like, all right, I can get down with a G-body. So at the time, my buddy was living out in Henderson, Nevada, or he was in Vegas, and I gave him a budget, and he found me, that my '84 Monte Carlo out there in Henderson, Nevada. I sent him the money, he bought it, and in that time, I was compiling about 6 months period after I bought the car in December. Between January and May, I was just compiling a bunch of sponsors. So I got Chevrolet Performance, obviously Holly, Detroit Speed, Curry, Willwood, American Racing. Who else? That was probably the brunt of it. And I got all those parts together, and we got the swap done. And it wasn't complete. We got it back home. It still needed some things done. So then my buddy Jerry, who lives local to me here in Georgia, we finished it up and we got it ready literally the day before, what was it? 2019. We took it on Hot Rod Power Tour, and the first stop was in Charlotte. So we drove from Atlanta to Charlotte, and we went to the show. We got there a day early. So we went to this little pre-party. Everything was cool. Went to the hotel. Everything was cool. Woke up the next morning, drove it to the show, and the show was good. Come back, park it at the hotel. My hotel room was on the second floor. I was on the side of the building. So I parked the car maybe about 4 spots over from my window of the hotel room. And obviously went to sleep, woke up the next morning, and we were hearing cars because like power tour, every morning people get up and they start leaving to go to the next city. So I'm hearing cars going. So I'm like, all right. So I get up and I open the window to go look out at the car. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's where I parked the car last night. And it didn't click in my head. I asked my boy Jerry, I was like, is that where I parked the car? And he was like, I don't know. I was like, I'm pretty sure it is. And I'm still like half asleep, didn't think much of it. And then it hit me and I'm like, oh my God, somebody did. So I ran downstairs, and as soon as I get to the door to go outside, a dude runs inside, and his car was parked just to the left of mine. He had an 87 or an 80. I don't remember. It was another G-body. It was a Malibu wagon. He was parked just to the left of me. He came in running saying somebody had just stole his car. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I'm obviously at this point beside myself. Long story short, 5 cars were stolen that morning. Mine and other guys, and then 3 from another hotel. And, fast forward, the car was found a month and a half later. I cannot explain to you how this all worked out in my favor. I really can't. The fact that car was more or less unharmed and fully intact is beyond me. Like, I don't think that the people that took my car did it like targeting me, because the other 4 people had no correlation to me. I just feel like it was just like an 80s and 90s GM grab, because that's what all the cars were. And they're easy cars to steal after I learned about that. And, the fact that I got my car back now, the one thing that I will say I was super humbled about was that how much the car industry rallied around me. A lot of people that even at the time didn't even know who I was, but they sympathized with me in the time and in the situation. And everybody and their mother reposted, the fact that the car was stolen, and when people were looking out for it that day. While I was still in Charlotte, I had people reach out to me saying that they would, let me ride with them the rest of the way of the power tour. One of my friends offered to get me a rental car to drive the rest of the power tour. Another company actually offered me one of their cars, like to have as another car to build. Wow. It was honestly one of the most humbling experiences because again, at that point, I still didn't think that I was somebody that people were paying attention to in the industry. And to see all of that come together or people rallying around me and like trying to help me out was just one of the most humbling experiences. And it showed that people really do care in this industry. And, you know, and again, but it did end up working out for me. I ended up getting the car back. And that's why that car has such a place in my heart, and I can't get rid of it now because, you know, when does that ever happen for people to get back a car that was stolen?
And I mean, we just got done talking out there at Barrett. I mean, you said that one of the things that you've checked pretty much all the boxes on that car, but there's one thing that you haven't checked, and that's
the chassis.
That's full chassis.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one thing that'll set that car apart because one, I know that you guys had just offered the G-body chassis in the last year and a half or so, year and a half, and I personally haven't seen that many of them, at least not people on Instagram or people that have a lot of clout, so to speak, with them. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of business. So I don't know how many y'all sold or not, but I would love to, you know, obviously be that guy to, you know, with that car, knowing that car has such a following. People love the car, to show like this is what, you know, you could take a stock G-body chassis that you got to worry about not knowing the predictability of how it's going to perform, especially with something like my power.
What kind of power is that thing making?
Man, I'll be honest. I'm not a numbers. I'm not fond on. I'm not fond, but I don't really care so much about numbers. I just know that the thing gets squirrely. Yeah, it gets squirrely. It'll break tires loose at 60, 65 mile an hour on the highway.
Dude, you got to come as soon as the weather breaks here in Chicago. We've got that Grand National here.
Yes,
twin turbo LS motor. You got to come out here. Scott will let you rip that thing.
Yeah, you need to drive it and do a review.
Yeah.
That's not even a question.
Jump in that thing, take it for a rip, stretch its legs. You'll be sold on the chassis because that thing absolutely gets after it, man.
Yeah.
Puts the
that's just icing on the cake getting to drive that car because I was already sold on the chassis. I already want one. I'm not even worried about that.
Oh shit! We brought it back to the. Now that I think about it, we brought it back to the customer, and Scott's got it. It's in his shop. So.
You gotta do that, man. Set it up.
100%.
Yeah, you gotta get
100%.
It's
because that's actually one of my things that I've been wanting to do. You know, having known a lot of you guys in this industry, like that's one of the things that I'm humbled about, is to be able to call you guys, you know, my friends and be able to reach out to you guys, is that I have access to be able to, you know, see these builds. But one of the things that I've wanted to do, and I've seen a void in the creative space, is that, you know, people don't get to see the behind the scenes of how you guys create these cars. You know, they'll get to see maybe a couple of pictures that you post on Instagram, per se, of the build, but nobody gets to see the inner workings of RoadsterShop. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily how you guys have it set up, like you don't want people to know, but there's some shops that just don't have an outlet or don't know how to show.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I think, you know, with like me and my dad, we used to watch How It's Made a lot.
Oh, yeah.
On History, whatever it was.
Love that show.
Yeah. And I think that is lacked in the automotive space in terms of content, because people only get to see the finished product, right? You guys pop out at SEMA with the Grand National, right? But like nobody saw anything of like how the process takes. And it may not necessarily be that car because that car was under wraps or whatever, but just any like customer build, nobody knows the process of like what it takes. Like the customer brings in, you know, this car, and this is kind of the progression of how it takes, the RoadsterShop takes to build a customer's vehicle. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that with a lot of shops, you, Speed Core, Ring Brothers,
sure,
whoever.
So do you think that's something you would be interested in doing? I mean, expanding what
I would love to do that.
Because
I would love to do that.
I mean, there's some guys out there like, you know, Autotopia does a great job of, you know, reviewing cars, but he gets them when they're finished.
Right.
You know,
right, exactly.
He's just showing you what the car can do. There's not a lot of guys out there that have the following, you know, or the reach that you do, that get in like through the process, the build process. Because it's the how it's. I mean, dude, if you could get the How It's Made commentator, dude, too.
That's what I was thinking the whole time.
I mean, it's like
here the technician welds the component.
Yes. Every time I watch it, it reminds me of like one of those 80s, you know, grammar school videos when they rolled the big TV in.
But yeah, let's get a little more
stuff.
Not a long documentary format, but a little longer than a reel, of like a little bit more in depth of kind of walking through the process.
You could go down to Salvaggio's and look at the GT. He's got that GT.
Yeah, we could.
So I think like it would work out to where, and this is something because I didn't put forth a lot of effort into creating, like, to pushing my YouTube from the early start, and that's kind of been a little bit of a detriment to myself. So with this, I feel like that would be, if a network didn't pick it up, right? If I just did this kind of on my own accord, I feel like this would be a really good way to push my YouTube, right? And again, it doesn't have to be super, super long episodes. It could be a way to kind of condense it down to give like an overview, but just enough content. And then to promote it, you know, obviously I don't have a bunch of followers on YouTube. I would just create short reels for Instagram and then just push people to see like, hey, if you want to watch the full, you know, walkthrough or whatever of Roadster Shop's, you know, inner workings, go to YouTube and da-da-da-da-da.
So do you find that Instagram is a good tool for driving like YouTube growth?
It can. It just has to, you just have to be, you have to be purposeful about the kind of content that you use to promote that. Like, it has to be engaging enough to be like, oh, because people are lazy, right? People are lazy enough that they don't even want to click a link. It's so sad. You know what I'm saying? But if you create something enough that's engaging enough, they'll want to go and watch the rest of it.
I love every time we'll try to post something as a teaser to steer people to YouTube, and like the first line is, see the full video on YouTube. First 27 comments. Where can I see more? Loved it. Want to see the whole video. Where can I find the whole video? Do you have a whole video on this?
I like it when we do the chassis ads where it's a picture of the chassis and then you swipe right and it's like the details and the price. And then you put that on there. How much? Like,
yeah.
Where can I find more info?
This little swipe motion, it's not that difficult. I mean, you could be massively out of shape. Yeah. And this right here is still doable, right?
It's sad. It's honestly sad. I see that all the time. Like, you can't make something simple enough and people will still find a way to be like, I'm like,
right,
whatever. That's why they gave us the opposable thumb. You know,
yeah, for the swipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Do you think there's a market at all for more instructional, informational videos or reviews? Like the gun world, I feel like if you're going to buy a new gun, a new optic, a new flashlight, there are 5 million people who have already reviewed it. In the car industry, there's nothing like that. Like, so there's Autotopia that's reviewed completed cars. Right. There's only a handful of people that have.
Really hitting a product.
Right. It's just like reviewing.
But I've also never seen him trash something either. That's the only thing. He's got great videos, but he's never been like,
piece of
this
shit.
Thing right here sucks. Like,
well, I think the reason he doesn't do that is because all those cars there are his customers, because he's a storage house.
Right.
So I don't know if it would go over well.
It wouldn't go over well. That's the difficult part about reviews in our industry is like, you need to have somebody
that's honest,
an objective review.
Right.
Yeah. I know it's hard too with like the stuff that we build or trying to review a new LS motor. I mean, it's not something you can just take out of the box and take a look at it, do a review on. You have to build a car, which is a year process that, you know, if you're doing it quick. But yeah, I just feel like there's nothing in our industry that really touches any product reviews, any in-depth reviews, unless the company themselves is putting it out.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, the only thing I do with reviews is I get to review new cars, and you know, most of the time, like there's no money exchange. Like, I just do it just because it's a fun thing to do. I've wanted to review cars ever since I was a kid. Excuse me, like watching Motor Week and all these other, you know, shows or whatever where people were reviewing cars. I was like, man, I would love to be able to do that. So I got into being able to do that. And I mean, while I do have a good connection with Dodge and Chevy, I have no problems pointing out like flaws because they're not paying me. So I'm like, whatever, dude. Right. You know, if I feel like there's a problem that somebody else thinks is a problem and you probably should fix it, you know, and it's even if they were paying me, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily put it in the video, but I would probably come to them on the backside and be like, look, this is what I found that you probably should address. You know what I'm saying?
Pivoting off that a little bit, tell us about the Dakar trip. I was following some of that on Instagram. First of all, it looks like they BF Goodrich took care of you. Pretty nice.
100%. 100%. That was arguably one of the coolest experiences of this whole social media thing that I've ever had the pleasure of doing. It was really kind of a kind of a out of nowhere invitation too, because I had a previous relationship with BF Goodrich as my tire sponsor, but my guy that was my contact had moved positions to a sales position, and then COVID hit, and I didn't have any contact, so I got invited to Petit Le Mans here in Atlanta back in October, and I met the girl that replaced him, and we hit it off. Her and her boss, liked me or whatever, and so like a couple weeks later after the event, she reaches out to me. She's like, "Hey, it's not official yet, but we might be going to Saudi Arabia for the Dakar rally." And I was like, "Oh, it's sick." And she's like, I want you to come." I was like, "Okay, say less. That's cool with me." So this was my first time out of the country too, and I'm going slap across the earth. And, and I honestly, it couldn't have been a better experience because, again, BF Goodrich obviously is a really, really big company. And they really did take care of me. It was, business class on Qatar Airways, and, staying at a pretty nice, 2 hotels or whatever while we were over there. It was one of the coolest experiences. And I don't know if you've, there was a video game I used to play when I was younger on PlayStation 3. It was called MotorStorm. And I don't know if they based that game actually around Dakar, but it had a lot of the similar vehicles that would race in the Dakar rally. So you had ATVs, dirt bikes, buggies, trophy trucks, the big, basically big rigs, the sport rigs. And basically to get to see all of those vehicles race in real life was like basically like playing MotorStorm in real life. It was super cool.
That's wild.
What do they call those big like cab over?
Yeah, and who the hell decided that was a good idea to race those?
They are wild to watch. Just
so they're called support rigs. They're called support rigs, and they actually are there to help the teams. They have teams that are racing too, and they have spare parts on board. This is based on the knowledge that I was given. Don't hold me to it. But not very many of them are registered as like competitors per se. They're just there for the fun of it. And I could be lying. I don't know. This is just kind of what I've been told.
It's the way you're delivering it. Let's roll with it because it sounds good. So
just if somebody comes in after the fact and corrects me, just know that they're probably telling the truth and I'm lying. But,
so they're there to support their race teams. Then like the individual teams, they're going to race each other and keep building bigger and better trucks to race each other. Aside from the race,
yeah, dude. Like I don't know, but like I don't know what they're there for, but they're cool. They're the best thing ever. If there was nothing else racing, they're the coolest thing ever because those things weigh 20 to 25,000 pounds. They're on 40 plus inch Michelin tires. They're carrying 2 or 3 spare, wheels and tires. They have probably, I don't know, a few hundred gallons of fuel in them. They're all diesels, and they're mobbing through the desert at 88, almost 90 miles an hour at top speed.
Damn, 88. I thought they were going to like warp
into the future.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, like 80 to 90 miles an hour. They're mobbing through the desert. And it's like,
that is
in a vehicle that big is nuts.
That's fast too in the desert.
Yeah, it is fast.
Cranking.
They could come past you at 20 miles an hour, and it seems like they're moving at the speed of sound because they're that big. And I had one almost hit me, which was cool.
Yeah.
I was standing so what was really one of the craziest parts of it, we were on the east coast of Saudi, and on the east side is the Arabian Gulf. So like you'd come from the main road and you'd go through the desert probably for about a mile or 2 miles, and then you'd be at the Arabian Gulf. And so all the cars are coming literally right along the sea. They'd probably be only like 10 yards off the water. And so we're standing a little bit further in, and this truck's coming at us, and it was early in the morning. So the water had washed up, and it kind of, made the sand real muddy. So he's coming at us, and there was a turn right where we were, and he comes at us, and there's still mud. So he's sliding right at us. And there was some berms of sand right there in front of us. And if that rear tire didn't hit that berm, he would have hit me. But I was like, I got to get the video. I was committed.
Oh,
I was
damn.
committed,
and
and thankfully he hit the berm. Yeah, and it would have been an interesting way of going out, but it was a cool video. It was a cool video.
So you said you do a lot of new car reviews. Have you reviewed the new Escalade V? And how does that run against your Escalade?
So cool story about that. Well, actually, I kind of had to beat some doors down at GM to get that vehicle because I didn't get invited to the media drive, and I was a little salty about that. Given that I'm probably one of two people on social media that like have built Escalades before the Escalade V even came out. So people that I'm one of those two people that people would come to for the content about an Escalade V. At least I thought, right? So I didn't go to the media drive, and I was in Detroit last summer for Roadkill and Dream Cruise. And I reached out to the lady that runs the V program for Cadillac, and I'm like, hey, I'm in Detroit. Is there any way you guys have a V that I can review while I'm here? And she was giving me a run around. And eventually, like right before the week was over, she was like, hey, we have one here in the city. We can get you. So they literally went and picked one up from the Milford Proving Grounds in Detroit and brought it to me. It only had like 1,000 miles on it. And it was the ESV, and it was fully loaded, had the Super Cruise and everything. And that vehicle, I was the first person to have one as a media vehicle, like in the wild on the public streets, aside from the people that were on the media drive. So like, when you're on the media drive, it's like a controlled environment. Everybody pretty much has the same content, same route and whatnot. I was out in the wild in Detroit, just all over the streets, just mobbing this thing. And so my content for it went crazy because nobody had seen one on the streets before I drove it, which was really cool. And that thing was a blast. Like, it's honestly one of the coolest modern vehicles that's come out in the last 5-7 years.
Damn.
Line that up against your Escalade. Who's winning?
With the stock trans in mine.
What's the trans? Is that an 8 or a 10?
8 neutrals or 10 neutrals in yours?
The new ones are 10-speed. Mine's a 6L80.
Oh boy.
Yeah, 6L80 and it's all-wheel drive.
Borrowed time, my man.
Yeah. I'm on very borrowed time. So if y'all know anybody that builds 6L80s, please throw them my way. But if I took all the torque management out and just get like a one and done
one hero run.
Yeah, if I turned my motor up and I did a one and off pull, I think mine would actually give it a little bit of a run for its money.
What, do you got a Whipple on it or what?
Yeah, mine's a 408 stroker with a 2.3 Whipple.
Okay.
And a cam and head work. It's got AFR heads, comp cam. So like with mine fully turned up, and we put a smaller pulley on it, it will make 800 wheel.
It's cool to say, like, when you hear about like he's doing an Escalade and it makes that much power and it's got that, you're like, oh, that'd be a pretty cool sleeper until you hear it.
Yeah.
And you're like, there's no sleeper.
No, it's not at all. It's silly because it's got Corsa exhaust on it and it's got Cook's long tubes, so it's loud.
What
like
made
it's
you
really loud.
build? I mean, you're a single dude, right? No kids.
Yeah, no kids.
What makes you decide? There's a lot of others like a vet. Guys would be building like a C7.
I wanted a vet, man. But honestly, I don't know. It's just kind of like that, I think it was rap music. I think it was rap music. I'm gonna blame it on rap music.
Blame it on Luda.
I remember
on the top of my Escalade.
With when BET still had 106 and Park, and that's when when a new single came out, there had to be a music video, and that's the only place you could watch it was 106 and Park. And I remember when I was younger, me and my brother were watching it one time, and I remember watching I Can't Deny It by Fabulous and Nate Dogg. And he was riding around, and he had the Sixers jersey on. He was riding around in an early gen Escalade. And I don't know, I just kind of always liked Escalade since then, man. And
I get it.
Yeah, and so that's when I was like, and then with the body style that I got the last of the GMT 900s, the NNBS body style. It was 2014. I didn't want a short one because with the third row in, you had literally like this much room between the third row and the tailgate. So I was like, I got to get the ESV so you can put luggage behind the third row. Again, being a single dude, why do I need a 23-foot long Escalade?
All right, what's the best story you dusting somebody in that thing then?
So I pulled up next to a guy local, and this was when I was still on the stock 6.2, and he pulled up in a Tahoe, and the Tahoe, ironically, was another big body SUV. It was the same generation, and his Tahoe was chopping too. And I was like, okay.
You don't run into
I was like,
that
all right,
shit
well,
around here.
I was like, this is weird, like 2 big body SUVs that are like chopping it up. And I'm like, all right. So the light turns green and we kind of just rolled into it. And I realized he was kind of about it. And so I just laid into it and I walked him. And so we pulled over into this to this church or whatever. And ironically, I knew the dude, but I didn't recognize him at the time. He had a 427 all motor in that Tahoe, and it was a short body Tahoe. So he had a weight advantage on me, but I had the torque from the blower. And he was like, bro, what the heck? I have never had anybody walk me in this Tahoe. And I was like, well, that's that supercharger for you, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, each one of you guys must have been like kind of shocked. You're saying to yourself, like, well, shit, I should have blown this dude's doors off, and he's hanging with me.
And he's looking at
he's like, how the fuck did this guy just walk me?
Yeah, exactly. It was the weirdest race you could ever imagine because, you don't think 2 full-size SUVs pulling up to a light cammed out, we're going to race each other. And, but no, my guy that built the motor down in Texas, I think he raced a cammed, crew cab Silverado on the highway from a roll and walked away from them. It's just imagine a 6,300 pound SUV on 24s walking away from anything. It's kind of crazy.
Dude, that's insane. I mean, you think about that, like Cadillac coming out with that. Everybody's griping about like emissions and EV cars, and we're not building cool stuff anymore. And then Cadillac comes out with a massive SUV that would completely blow the doors off like a Hemi Cuda,
right,
from back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
that thing's even crushing probably like Hellcats, right? I mean, it runs like mid 12 quarter miles or something.
It does 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. The new V.
Oh
shit!
And over 6,000 pounds.
I didn't realize.
What is it like a LT5?
It's an LT4. It's a LT4. That's 682 horsepower.
Okay.
No, it's still LT4 blower. It's just literally a ZL1. They just added like 20 more horsepower, so it's 682 horsepower instead of 650.
So I'm still a contender then when power to weight ratio in the Legend truck.
Yeah.
With that LT4.
Yeah.
Because
you'd have to race it in 4-wheel drive. You'd have to put it in 4-wheel drive.
Oh,
because that all-wheel drive.
I'd whole shot on that thing like fucking John Force. I'm coming out of the hole.
You're talking about Cadillac doing that. They offset it with bringing back the Hummer and making it EV. That was the thing that they always got the shit about was having, I can't believe, Americans would have such a big gas burning car. Nobody needs a burning car. So they wow you. It's smoke and mirrors. They're like, we're bringing back the Hummer, but it's EV. We care about the environment. And then just like, oh yeah, we got this like Cadillac. It's huge and it's fucking fast.
You care about the environment now, but the Hummer for the past like 20 years is just
it's making up for a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's funny because obviously GM has been it seems like the face of the joke in terms of like trying to push the EV thing and whatnot. But Cadillac always seems to be the brand that just pops out of nowhere with like the craziest thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like just out of left field. Like, I don't know if you guys remember before the CT4 and the CT5V Blackwing, right? In 2019 and 2020, they came out with the CT6.
I thought you were going to say the Catera.
Oh no! Heck no! That thing was trash. But no, in 2019 and 2020, they had the CT6, the big body sedan that had the 4.4 liter twin turbo V8 that was called the Blackwing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it was proprietary to just that car. So I remember I had gotten a CT6 Platinum that had that same engine that was rated for 500 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque, if I'm not mistaken. And then they had the V model that was the same engine. It just had a little more horsepower. It's 550 horsepower and like 550 torque or something like that in a big S-Class competitor sedan. And that car was a sleeper. And they only made like 600 of them.
Wasn't that the one?
And they only used that engine for that car.
Like
yeah, it was
reverse
inboard.
flow.
They were hot V, so they were inside the plenum.
It was
so weird.
That was their first Super Cruise that they came out with too on that car, wasn't it? With the Blackwing on that one. My wife still to this day wants one of those cars.
Do you have to do
They're fast.
to use a Super Cruise? That's every commercial. They start doing that.
And
We Will Rock You. You haven't seen any commercial for the Super Cruise?
no, I haven't.
Oh.
Oh.
They're driving, and then all of a sudden the guy just starts going like this, takes his hand off the steering wheel, and then it's
Josh
like
was so
horrible.
confused. He was like,
Yeah.
"What are you talking?"
I was like, I'll go with it.
I thought that was
I'll
a
go.
thing. I thought that was a thing.
Here we go.
But yeah, I was just looking online, and like those V models are not like they're rare. And I remember I saw there was one in Scottsdale that was like still like $70,000 and had 20,000 miles on it.
It is a little crazy, man, when you think about Cadillac. Like, they started with that North Star, right? Today it's kind of a joke, but the North Star was badass.
For its time.
I mean, they were putting,
Shit.
remember, they were going in sand rails and
Yeah.
shit and just ripping. And then the CTS-V, I mean, that crazy for its time.
Yeah.
And now they've got,
They were just coming out with the Escalade. It was like the first
Yeah.
luxury SUV. And
So the Escalade V, the new one, it lives up to the hype, huh?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Now, I don't know if I'd spend any more than MSRP.
what,
You know what I'm saying? You got the
150 Gs or what are they?
150 grand for the short and 160 for the long.
Yeah, but they asking, but over, yeah,
People asking
over.
220. People
20%.
people asking $220,000 for a short one.
Well, what's the deal now? You said everything's going like, they're selling it with a few miles on them. Isn't that what what's the
there's been a bunch of
workaround? Because-
local dealers that they'll sell it to like a sales manager or something, and then they'll sell it used with 500 or 1,000 miles on it.
So
for,
Cadillac or GM won't fuck them on the.
Yeah, and they're selling it for like 20 grand over sticker with 500 to 1,000 miles on them.
It's always a workaround.
It's silly. It's the same thing with it's the same, exactly. It's the same thing with the Z06, man. It's like, you see guys selling those things for 100 grand over sticker, and it's like, come on, bro. But the problem is there's goofballs that are buying them.
Yep.
Yeah. The Z06
And they're only going to
is
keep
cool.
asking it if people are going to pay for it.
Have you drove one of those yet? The new Z06?
No, man, I'm kind of bummed about that too, man. I don't know what's going on with GM. They haven't included me in any of the Corvette stuff, like the C8 stuff, and it's kind of pissing me off because I'm like, again, I kind of feel like I had to beg Cadillac to get the V, and I don't even care if they see this. I want to let them know because, like, I'll be honest, like, I don't know what their thought process is. I don't know if I did something wrong to them or whatever the case, but like, I don't feel like I had to ask to get the the Escalade V because, like,
You're the
I
Escalade
feel like
guy.
the Escalade, yeah, exactly. But like, even with the Corvette, because that's my demographic. You know what I'm saying? Like
that all
is-
goes to Amelia Hartford, doesn't it?
Yeah, and she's the homie. Like, I love that girl. Like, she's doing her thing. So mad kudos to her. But it's like, I don't know. A lot of my friends got invited to the media drives, and again, this is not no shade. Like, I'm happy that they all got invited. I'm just surprised I didn't get an invite. So it's like I'd like to know what I did or why I'm not getting invited because I feel like I'm right there. Should be there or whatever. But
How many views did you get on the Escalade stuff that you were putting out?
dude, one video alone, it was only 6 seconds long, did 6.6 million views on my Instagram.
Ooh, damn.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a few.
Exactly.
I think you
And
need a
did I
better
get-
marketing guy to kind of
Did
get
you-
that
Man,
into
I
GM.
need something. I need something because I didn't, how much money do you think it would have cost GM to produce a video or
To get that
content out to 6.6 million views? How much money do you think that would have cost them?
Oh,
a lot.
A lot.
So
What's a
how
Super Bowl
does-
commercial?
Yeah, how does that compare to like something that, GM Performance or like the Block or, any other GM
Subsidiary.
Yeah, put out there. I mean, that's 6 million's got to be
You obviously
That's a good
sent
question.
that. You sent that to him afterwards, didn't you?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I showed them. I sent them all the videos, and I'm like, look, I would collectively, from just me, the 4 videos that I posted on American Muscle HD and the 2 videos I posted on my personal got collectively probably about 10 million views. And I put no effort into any of them. They were all just like quick little videos.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I put effort into one video. I had an idea that I wanted to do, and it took 3 takes, and it probably took like 10, 15 minutes to record it.
Was that
You know,
putting,
you get
the,
the-
was
you
that
get the right
putting
one.
the Sixers jersey back on and replaying this?
No. I should have done that. I should have got the braids. I should have put a Sixers jersey on and played the song in the background. I should have done that. But no, it was.
Hey,
it
I'm
was a
just here
video.
for the ideas, man. Don't worry.
Hey,
about
you're right. Hey, listen, I'll do that in mine. How about that? But no,
Like
it was
little Troy appearance on the next Impala release.
there you go. Want to be a ball? That's a good song.
Yeah.
That's a good song. But no, it was my buddy up there. Are y'all familiar with M1 Concourse up there in Pontiac, Michigan?
Familiar
garage.
with it, don't know him.
Okay, so it's a garage community, that up there in Pontiac, and basically it's like they have a road course on property, and then obviously people have their garages and whatnot. So I got a buddy that has a garage up there, and when I go up there, he lets me stay there. So my video was basically I backed the Escalade into the garage, and you guys know I'm a sneakerhead, so I started the video where the person was outside recording, and I hit the garage door, and I walked in front of the truck, and you could see my shoes. I had a pair of Jordans on. And then I get in the truck, start it up, and then I revved it in the garage, and it's got a super loud exhaust note, so it reverberates. And then I pull it out of the garage, rev it a couple more times, and then I just got out and walked past the camera. So it was a simple video, but it still did like 500,000 views.
I mean, they let you drive. Yeah, they let you drive the V for, a few days.
I know and it's like they feel like that, and I'm like, nah, bro. Like I get it. Like, cool, I did ask to drive it. But where would you have otherwise gotten that much engagement?
Right.
Or how much would you have paid to get that much engagement?
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's like, I'm not conceited, I'm not big headed, but I also know my worth.
I was going to say that, man. I mean, you seem incredibly humble for having all of this power in your hands.
Yeah. And that's, I think that may be a little bit of my problem, but it's just how I was raised. You know what I'm saying? Like I know that just as fast as I got this, it could all go away.
I mean, it's nice because you could very easily be a dickhead.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't.
Right. And I don't want to be that guy.
Podcast, but I'm having fun with it because you're.
Well, it's interesting
cool
what you're saying though about, like you said, you showed GM how many videos you've done, and it, like you said, how much would you have paid for that? And it makes me think about, and I don't know, some people might have this business model now, but we get approached so many times from influencers or media companies, or we're going to do SEO and we'll handle your stuff. We've had how many meetings with these people? We ask them the same questions about, like, all right, well, how are you going to do this better than we are? How are you going to do this better than we are? And most of the time it's like, not good answers.
Yeah, Dr. Dre asking us to promote his headphones last week. We're like,
No, I meant like companies wanting to come to us and handle our social media.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Right.
Or
I'm just fucking around.
He's full of shit.
I was like, dang.
I'm just trying to put myself on your level. When you get
I was like, that's sick, dude. Holy crap.
But after you had the performance with that Escalade video, that's a new way of looking at it. Like, dude, give me the shot. Let me do these. Let me put you the metrics after the fact, right? Yeah. And then you either hit the goal and you like it and you pay me, or you don't, right?
Yeah.
Versus coming to be like, hey, pay me X amount of dollars, I'm going to put this post on there. Once you're paid, right? Yeah. And whatever happens. You're either going to put, right. I guarantee, human nature is human nature. You're paid. You're going to do a good job because you want to continue, but you're also probably going to put a little bit different effort into it versus getting paid on the backside on what it performs. I don't know if anybody ever does it that way, but it's
no. And the only problem I see with that is that, like, social media is very unpredictable. Like, you could do what you're going to do and expect a certain result, and it just may not do it because the algorithm's not in your favor that day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't tell you that the content that I created was going to do what it did. I think the reason it did that is because the vehicle was brand new. I was the first person with it. Nobody had seen it on the street. So I was doing things with a vehicle that had never been seen. You know what I'm saying? That was brand new. And that's probably why it caught on like wildfire, which is why I kind of wanted to.
I agree that it is predictable. But I mean, coming from the buyer standpoint, I look at that as like, absolutely, to your point, it is predictable. So why should I pay you what maybe is going to happen on the front side? And if it doesn't, right? If it does happen on the backside, be like, guess what? It did this. Benefited. It blew my mind, and so now this is what you owe me, because this is what it did. On the same thing, like you said, we could pay you X amount of dollars for a post or whatever, a set amount because we think it's going to do whatever. It's unpredictable. On the backside, it doesn't do that, and you're like, social media is unpredictable. I did my best. We go back and forth, but we're kind of
fucking algorithm, man.
Yeah, it is the algorithm.
It is the algorithm, yeah.
But I mean, to your credit, or your point, I would look at that as like, hey, it overperformed what we thought it was going to do. So,
sure.
Pay me
my money.
Under promise, over deliver.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's honestly it's wild, man, and that's one of the things that I've been trying to figure out, because it's like, I know that these agencies, it's not usually the manufacturers, right? They hire these agencies to handle the promotion and the marketing of a product, and they'll reach out to these, and it's ironic because they'll reach out to celebrities, right, to be the face of the marketing aspect of a vehicle. And it's like, okay, cool, but it's like, do they have a real tie to the brand, right? They're just a celebrity that you just slap the name to the brand just as a face. But it's like, do they have any credibility to the product? As opposed to me, I'm not necessarily somebody in the world, but I'm somebody in the automotive space, right? And people that, like, again, I had an Escalade V before an Escalade V. So who else would it be better to use than somebody that people would correlate the vehicle to? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's just, who am I? But that's just my mentality with it all, right?
Oh, we see that shit all the time about you're looking at like what you would think would be a very simple decision, and it goes over the head of some important people in marketing companies and stuff like that. And you're like, why didn't you do this? This right here would have worked. Or get this guy. Or that guy that you're paying is the wrong guy.
Because they're not in the
you're not in
the mix.
Yeah.
They're not
in it.
They put Matthew McConaughey in all the Lincolns, right? The fucking commercials are awesome. I mean, he's a phenomenal actor, super cool dude. It led me, because they had some cool stuff going on. For my wife was looking for a SUV. We like test drove the Aviator.
Yep.
It sucked. It's a huge piece of shit. Right?
So we're probably not getting a Lincoln sponsorship
No Lincoln
here.
sponsorship back here.
Yeah, and that's fine, dude. Lincoln's,
fine.
Yeah, Lincoln's not going to be putting any like supercharged LTs in anything anytime soon. But
Right.
I wouldn't think so.
yeah, they hyped
Maybe a
the shit.
supercharged
They
Audi.
had a great guy endorsing it.
And it made you because they
It did.
they had the right ad, the right person. It had the right hip
It did.
flair to
Right.
it. Right. I get you.
So,
But I mean, I've seen, and I have screenshots, I have documentation to show you guys, like with my reviews. I've had people DM me and tell me that they bought a vehicle based off of my reviews. I had reviewed a High Country Tahoe, I believe, a Denali Yukon, and an Escalade. They're like a stock one, a regular one. And I had a guy DM me and he said, me and my wife watched all three of your reviews and we bought a Yukon SLT based off of your reviews. I'm like, these people went and bought a $70,000 vehicle. They granted, they probably they made their own decision, but they went and they took what I had to say as a part of their buying decision and bought a $70,000+ vehicle based off of what I had to say. That's crazy.
Yeah.
yeah, but
That's crazy.
It's probably a more genuine review,
Right.
Yeah. I'm not trying to hype things up. I just show it as I like it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to give you the real detailed specs like Motor Week. I'm just going to tell you, like, hey, these are the things that I like. This is what I'm going to show you.
What's the worst car you've reviewed?
Dang, that's a good question. Worst car? Oh man, I try not to get bad cars for that very reason.
Ooh, so close.
I think it was a mistake because I asked for a Hyundai Elantra N, the N line.
Yeah.
Or not the N line, but the N, the performance one.
Yes.
And they gave me an N line, like the N dash line. And it was like the wannabe N. Like it had the
fascia
kind of
and
like
stuff like that.
The
But
sporty, yeah, it had
none
the
of the
sporty
cool shit.
aspects, but it wasn't the engine from the N and all that kind of stuff. So that one was really bland. So that probably was the worst vehicle I'd ever reviewed.
like reviewing a rental car.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
We
I
can do
was
some good rental car reviews.
like, it's practical.
Just a
That's all
few key features.
That's literally all I could say. I was like, it's practical, it's affordable, it's economical. That's all I got for you. There's no wow factor here. But the coolest vehicle I reviewed was a Mercedes AMG GTR.
Oh,
Which is the GTR?
it's
The
the
long
little,
nose coupe.
yeah.
Wings?
I was just looking
With
at
no, it doesn't have gull wings. It's
just
not gull
regular door,
wings.
but the long nose and the
Okay.
back end set back.
All right.
I was just looking at the one before the truck went. That black and green one went across at Barrett Jackson. I was just sitting there looking at him like, man, that's a cool.
Yes.
Cool
sure.
car.
I've always been on the fence on
It's-
that one. I feel like the price point, like there's a lot of other stuff I would buy before that.
I don't know, man. Like it's sitting at that. I think retail they're like 270. But man, I tell you, that's a heck of a car because it's a touring car. Like you can get in and drive that car across country. Like it's that comfortable. But it's a track monster too because it's got like 355, Pilot Sport 2s on it. It's a front mid-engine twin turbo V8 that makes almost 700 horsepower. Like, is rowdy.
Nice old daily, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. I scared my mom, my grandmother, and my dad in that car. It was awesome. It was awesome.
So now we come to the time of the night where we ask the standard questions.
Do we have the same standard questions, or we going to deviate?
Well,
throw a wild card in there, Josh.
You want me to throw a wild card?
Yeah, throw something in
you
there.
Have a wild card?
I don't.
Okay.
But you're like quick.
Off the cuff.
I got one.
I got one too.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah.
All right.
Because he mentioned his sneakerhead.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I'm still starting it off.
I'm sitting over here staring at these fucking neon vans.
Oh, these suckers, huh?
I got a pair of shoes
these things
for you
are,
right
these
here
are
too. That I
worn
can show
out
y'all.
too. I got a fresh pair of these.
You got another pair.
Well, we
didn't give you enough shit that you went out and bought another
Jeremy,
one.
just to preface this, and they can continue. Jeremy Gerber, I don't know if you know this or not. We're gonna tell it here on the air. He is 1/4 bass, like the fish.
Yeah.
So
Like
anything
sparkly shit,
like
I like
anything
neon
that's
things.
glittery, sparkly, neon colors,
Yeah.
like he's attracted to it instantly, and he has to have it.
And then, with that being said, I'm also like a child. I'm like a 7-year-old boy on the playground that I just destroy my shoes. Like it's 2 to 3 days.
So
I don't know what the fuck it is. I just ruin
anything like bright neon, graffiti, like paint splash, like that's
Well, now I know what to get you for Christmas.
he's,
There you go.
he's all
Hell
about
yeah.
it. So what was your question about?
That was it. What's your call on these things?
Oh, on what's your call on
these
Jeremy's
guys?
shoes? He's a Nike dude, man. He's a Jordan guy.
Yeah,
I
he
got
wouldn't
Vans.
fuck
I got a
with
few
these.
pair of Vans, believe it or not.
Do you?
Yeah, I got Vans does some really dope collaborations. So I've got a Where's Waldo pair that's got just like the Where's Waldo like pattern over it. I've got a pair of Black Panther. They did like a whole Marvel collection, so I did a Black Panther pair.
You don't have a pair of DEF CON Vans, do you?
I do not.
Yeah.
Josh,
Neither do
Josh's
I.
unicorn.
I've been trying to find a pair of those for
You need a
years.
pair of Moon Eyes. I feel like you need a pair of Moon Eyes Vans.
Yeah, you do. You cuff those little tight jeans too with them. Cuff them
The
up.
hipster joints.
Oh, Let those-
Did you get the
ankles
Jordan?
show.
Rocks. Glass house. Tight jeans.
Did you get the Jordan Lost and Founds?
I do actually. I've been wearing the heck out of those.
You looking for those?
I want that bad.
I beat those. That's the shoe. I'm gonna beat those up, man. Jordan 1s. I firmly believe Jordan 1s are meant to be beat up. Now they're gonna stay clean, but they're gonna have creases in the toe box. The midsole is probably gonna get some scuffs. Like that's a shoe that's meant to be beat up.
Do you do those crease protector things inside the thing?
Heck no.
My son
You
is
see those
all
kids?
about that. My son is
Yeah,
all
does
about
he
he's
walk?
got-
Does he walk like a penguin? Does he walk like a penguin trying to crease his feet?
No, he always walks like on his toes anyway, but maybe that's the reason why. He's got to get those crease protectors and put them in so the toes don't get creased.
What is the crease
Man.
protector?
It goes
like
in here so you don't crease when you bend your toes.
It goes in the toe box of your shoe. It's like a plastic.
It's like a hard
that
shoe.
basically
It's gotta be
keeps-
like
steel toe
it's like a
shoe.
hard shoe.
Wildly uncomfortable, right?
I'm sure
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be.
But he's
I can't
just-
imagine that. It's
He's trying to flex.
The shoe
Now,
game,
look.
dude. The shoe game is wild. I got down with like one pair of Jordans. I mean, I dig them, and I made the mistake of getting like a half size too small, and I can't wear them. I got to find out. But now I feel like I want to give them to somebody that would appreciate them because
What size are
they're
they?
fresh, like a 10 3/4.
No, they're not.
European sizes, huh?
They're an 8.5. I wear a 9.
Oh, God.
Right?
He said-
Yeah,
Your son will wear them next year.
yeah, he probably will.
Yeah, those will be hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So I was telling
Yeah.
one of my
Okay.
neighbors about these new Lost and Found. It's like a recreation of the original. And he's like, "Oh, I think I got a pair of those in the basement." I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, "No, I think I got a pair of original Jordans in the basement." Went down in his basement. He pulls out original 1985 Jordan 1s.
Really?
That he's just
Wow.
had since. They're fucking
Like
awesome.
$20,000.
I tried to trade him a couple bottles of Pappy for him just so I could like put it on my shelf in my office. But yeah, wouldn't.
Yeah,
do it.
those if they're in decent shape with the box, that's a $20,000 shoe.
They're no box. They're in good shape.
Oh, okay. Hey, if they're in good shape, then he could still probably get he probably still get $15,000 for them.
That's nuts.
For old ass shoes.
For old ass shoes.
So,
because again, it'd be somebody that would put them on a mantle.
Yeah,
for real.
That's all I want to do with them.
What you got over there?
my son's getting down with them now. So Wyatt is all about the Jordans.
Right.
So he texted me this. They're the Air Jordan 5 Retro Alternate Bel Airs.
Oh yeah, yep.
They're fucking $200 and something.
Yeah. What do you?
Yeah, it's like cheap for what these things are going for.
Oh, that's nothing, dog.
What do you think shoes cost?
For a kid?
That's nothing.
Yeah, he's gonna.
For a
He got
kid,
a flex. He got a flex.
Yeah.
He needs to flex and get a damn job. That'd be a pretty good
Dad thing I've
flex.
ever heard in my life, bro. Golly, that's the most dad thing. That's so funny.
He's got a birthday
That's so
coming up.
funny.
Yeah, he does.
All right. So
Well, we're talking about shoes here.
What are you rocking?
So these are
damn.
the Air Max, the Atmos Japanese outfitter Air Max ones. These are the Animal Pack that they retro. These originally came out in 2006, but they retro these, and these are from 2017.
If they had just one more brighter color on it, that'd be right up your alley.
It'd
I'll
match
tell you
your
one
cap.
thing. Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, dude. If this was high school, there would be a mechanical pencil blowing right through that fucking air pocket right now.
Were you that? Were you
He was
yeah,
that kid.
Yeah, and when you
You were destructive.
yeah, when you're sitting in gym class and that kid's kind of sitting like Indian style with the foot over to the
No.
side, and you just
That's
Oh man, we would have been fighting.
yeah. You don't blow a bag out.
We would have been scrapping, dog.
But you're right, dude. If there was a sliver of neon in those, I'd be right.
Yeah, I could be all over that.
That's so funny.
I don't know if I could pull that off.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Probably be, dang, it's probably something really, really good, but I would say save your money. You know what I'm saying? Save your money for a rainy day. I have a tendency, as you guys can tell, with my hobbies. I like to spend money, and
Yeah, you got some expensive hobbies, man.
it's tough, man. It's tough, and I mean, while I still, obviously with having the social media and stuff, like how it goes. Like I get stuff sponsored and whatnot, but there's when the things you don't get sponsored, you still spend money on. So if I could go back and take from one piece of advice and go back and do something, I would definitely save more money.
Go ahead.
To piggyback on that, what advice would you give somebody coming from your field? What would you give somebody that would kind of relate to social media?
I would say go into it with a plan. I didn't go into it with a plan because I didn't know what it was, right? But with what I do know, and if I were to give somebody advice today that wanted to start social media, I would tell them to go into it with some general plan. It doesn't have to be to a T because things change, things deviate, but go into it with having some sort of idea of what you want it to end up being. So one of my things, we didn't talk about this, but one of my things, and I hate to even say this because it's so sad, but one of the things that I didn't do from the beginning was I didn't correlate me as Garrett Reed with American Muscle HD because of the stigma of what the automotive industry was. Like, people didn't want to see a young black dude in this industry. And I'd say want to, but I knew that there was going to be kickback. And in my head, I was like, I know there's going to be it. I know there's going to be it. But then there was one day I was just like, screw it. I was at SEMA. First year I went, it was 2015 or 2014. And I rode in, when they did the Optima street cars, they did the rollout of SEMA for Ignited. And I rode in one of the cars and I posted a picture of me in the cars or a video. And lo and behold, like what I thought was going to happen, I had people, say some negative things. You guys can imply what I'm talking about on the post. But then after that happened, I was like, you know what? My theory was confirmed. But what did it do to me? It didn't do anything. So I was like, you know what? Screw those guys. They're not going to define who I am. They obviously don't define who I am. They're not going to keep me from doing what I want to do. And from then on, I, made it more of a priority to post myself. And that's what you were talking about, Josh, when you started seeing me more on the page and noticing there was a guy behind the page or whatever. So now I'm all over it. You know what I'm saying? You'll see me in stories. You'll see me on posts, because that's what I want to do at the end of the day. But with that being said, I would say to tell people, like, if you want to do something, like, don't be scared to do it. Don't worry about what people are going to say, because people are always going to have something negative to say. To this day, there's people that still probably hate the fact that I do what I do, but it's just jealousy at the end of the day. And it's not going to stop you from doing what you want to do. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would just say go into it with a plan and just don't be afraid of what's going to come of it. Just do it.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I mean, yeah, as much as we talked about earlier about people feeling emboldened or having the freedom to just share their comments. I mean, I'm sure it didn't come as that big of a surprise when somebody would tell you that they didn't like the color of the car you posted. I'm sure you tell them that they didn't like the color of your skin wasn't exactly surprising. I mean, I can't believe you post a truck. Trucks fucking suck. And then, I mean,
Dude,
you're asking somebody to give their opinion, which is stupid.
A viral video of you whooping some dude's ass would also be
right. And
that's good for that's good for ratings too, because it's
100%. 100%. And it's like, and it's like I've only gotten love when I go to these events, and especially particularly now, like I see when we were at Barrett Jackson, I had people come up to me and in passing, like I'm walk past people and I see them kind of like look at me. And so I turn around thinking like, they know me or whatever. I turned around and this dude was like, man, dude, I've been following you since like the beginning. And he introduces me to his wife, and it's cool. Like I introduced myself, he introduces himself, and it's cool. We just keep it, it's like, but dude, like if I didn't put myself out there, I wouldn't have those interactions. You know what I'm saying? And like that stuff means the world to me.
Oh, man, just think if you'd have hid behind American Muscle HD all these years and show up to Barrett Jackson and walk around, who the fuck's going to know who you are?
Nobody, exactly.
And you'd be like, hey, I've got this page. Like, I know I've got like almost 3 million followers. And like, I'm like, yeah, dude, okay, whatever. Like, send me the link or give me the email,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, dude, honestly, it is, I would say it is what it is because the personality you bring and the charisma you bring. Yeah. Because otherwise, I don't think it would be shit. I mean, it would do all right, but it wouldn't be what it is.
Right.
It wouldn't have the same. I wouldn't be on this podcast with you guys. That's the way I look at it. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have the connections that I have. I wouldn't have the friends and the notoriety, so to speak, in the industry if I wasn't the way that I am and kind of make that decision of like, you know what? Forget what people are going to say. I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
I'd be careful throwing around like this being on this podcast is like a positive.
Yeah.
Right?
Or like that's not really a notch in your belt.
That's questionable.
Hey, whatever, man. I'm just saying I'm trying to gas y'all up, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to gas y'all up.
All right.
That's funny.
Favorite car movie and why?
It honestly might be early Fast and Furious, like Too Fast, Too Furious. I think it might be Too Fast, Too Furious.
That's the one with Torino, right? Is that the
Too Fast, Too Furious was the one with Tyrese when Tyrese first came into it. So that was the one with the 69 Camaro, the Yenko, and the Challenger when they raced them. Remember they had the Lancer and the Eclipse Spider, and they raced the two guys for the cars, and they beat them.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
vaguely. I'm gonna nod like I remember. Yeah. I honestly don't remember.
Did they go to space in that one?
No, that was the 9th one. That's why I didn't watch that one. I heard there was a Pontiac Fiero in that one. I was like, no, heck no.
I watched that on the plane. There's nothing else. They jumped and go into space, and
it's a franchise.
I just pray. I pray that this last one, the 10th one, goes back to its roots. I pray.
He's be like a prequel.
That they go out with it.
I like the original one, man. I mean, it was pretty.
The original one was good.
The Charger was cool.
Yeah. Combing the streets of Woodfield looking for races afterwards.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Do y'all know RJ DeVera?
Yeah, we had him on. We had him on as a guest.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so it took a while. Obviously, I became friends with him, and to know that he was the one that was. First of all, I didn't realize he was as old as he was.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And then to find out that he was the guy in playing the PlayStation in the first one was crazy.
Dude, that was my era back in the day at Nopi. Before it went to the racetrack, when it was downtown at the fairgrounds. That was way back in the day.
He wasn't even born yet. He has no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, he was born.
I was born, but I was like 5.
This is cheetah hair, Josh.
Is it? Yeah, it was.
He said, yeah.
Okay. You're being fucking hurtful tonight. I'm telling you what.
Dude, hang on. His shoes with your hair.
It would have been a look.
No, his shoes.
Oh, his shoes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to see a picture. I'm gonna need to see a picture of what you're talking about.
I'm sure
now.
my wife's probably got some.
I've tried to get it out of her. She won't give it to me.
She uses those for.
He lives right down the street from me. I'm breaking into his house.
All right, bet. Sounds good. Send those to me.
There's a picture of the hair, like the leopard print that matches a leopard print shirt. I had the shirt on.
Oh Lord. Oh Jesus.
We're getting a hold of that.
Yeah.
With some white K-Swiss. Oh,
some hill figures.
Some fringed, some hinged, some fringed hill figures.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Did you pie cut the bottom so they kind of spread out a little bit?
I looked like the cartoon kid that used to draw back in the day. Remember where you'd come out?
And they came over the shoe.
This
is way before his time. He's thinking about that like bell bottoms, when we were
He's thinking
well, that's what I was thinking. I thought you were talking about bell bottoms. That's wild.
No, I mean, I was in Atlanta in like 90. I graduated in 97 and I was in Georgia. So this 95, 96. I had a couple pairs of cross color. And I had crisscross was big. I mean, we wore it backwards for a little bit.
Oh, you're talking about like the parachute joints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like the ones that just a flare at the bottom.
Yeah. Arthur Arkish wore his jersey backwards.
Yeah.
Did he?
To school.
One time wouldn't let me.
If you wore your shit backwards back then. You were hard fucking cool.
Him and Mac Mansevic.
Yeah, off the hook. Dude.
So was the 90s, was 95, 96, was that before Freaknik in Atlanta?
No, Freaknik was going on, and then it was a little before because Freaknik I think was 98 or 99 for the. I could be.
Yeah, that was like Jermaine Dupri era. That was Jermaine Dupri era.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Might come as a surprise. I didn't go to Freaknik, and it wasn't a thing for me. I do remember when being in Birmingham when I was at the rim shop. That was a big week. Because everybody was getting ready. I mean, from Birmingham would drive to Atlanta for Freaknik.
I don't even know what the fuck you guys are talking about.
It's like a giant block party.
Yeah, it's just like a huge block party. So I mean, we'd sell shit tons of rims just to get their cars ready and then drive to Atlanta for Freaknik. And it's just cruise. Everybody's just cruising.
What's the word you're saying?
Freaknik.
Freaknik.
Yeah.
Okay.
N-I-C-K. Yeah. Or N-I-K. I can't remember.
But, yeah, N-I-K.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to Google it. You got to Google it.
I'm not going to Google
it. We're not setting you up. Like, it's not like a bad thing. I promise.
All right. What's your best SEMA story?
Best SEMA story.
Are you trying to find somebody to rival yours? Or is that?
Oh, now I got to know what yours is to see what mine's going to be.
I've told it once, and that'll be the last time I tell it. You have to go back and find the episode that I tell it, because that will never be told again.
You got to tell me what episode it is.
You got me drunk to tell it that time. I don't remember. Well, I'll figure it out and I'll text you.
I want to say it was at SEMA. It was at one of the like parties. And I vaguely remember this. I was actually talking to my friends from Chevy Performance. Well, they're photographers. They used to work with Chevy Performance. And there was a guy, and I may have been drunk when this happened. This is why I probably don't remember it too well. But there was a guy, an older white dude that came up to me, and I was talking to some people, and he was so calm. He was drunk off his behind too, but he came up to me and he said something so off the wall, like low-key racist. Like straight up, not even low key, like straight up racist.
Just real racist.
Yeah, like it wasn't real racist. And I remember like being so so surprised that he came up to, and he said it in a way like he was like,
was he being?
You know what I mean?
He was being friendly with you.
I guess he kind of looked at me like you know what I mean, and I'm like, no, like, do you see my skin color, dude? Like, what are you talking about? And all I remember is like my friend Andrew. He's Andrew Link. I don't know if you guys know him. Actually, you might have known him because I think he shot one of y'all's car. I think he shot Rampage. He's out of New York or whatever. Okay. But I remember he was like kind of in the background, and I remember he almost fought this dude for me because I was so distraught. Like, it's so funny. The few times that I've had encounters with people that have said some racist stuff around me or kind of snide, kind of slick comments, like my mind doesn't compute what happens in the moment, which is probably a good thing.
You got to think about it. You get pissed off after the fact.
Yeah. Afterwards, I'm like, oh, I'm like, bruh, come on.
Did he say it like in a way that he was like a fat awkward white dude wanting to be cool. Like
I think so. I think so. And he was
because
like,
you got to understand, you bring like a level of cool that
for
he
sure.
probably didn't have. You know?
Are you making excuses?
yeah.
No, I'm asking.
You're
I'm
just
asking.
saying
If
if
he
he came in, he
if
tried
he
to-
was like coming off
tried
as
to-
a fuckhead and he needed to be like,
Oh,
Yeah, he tried to just like fit in or something like that. Yeah. That's probably what he was trying to do. But like, I looked at him and I was like, are you serious? Like, did you really just say that? And my homeboy, like, he legitimately was about to put this dude in a chokehold for me because I just was so stunned. I was just like, I didn't even know what to say. And yeah, it was weird.
Drunk SEMA fights are always some of the best stories.
or Barrett Jackson fights. I mean,
Barrett
Cruisers.
Jackson, yeah, Cruisers almost got lit up.
Knocks this dude out.
Fighting over a chair.
This year?
Yeah, just this last.
Yeah, Brian,
Oh, God.
Brian Cruz getting into.
But
Throwing
I
down.
mean, to be fair, they're feeding you alcohol for a long time.
Oh, dude.
It's bound to happen.
Yeah.
And you got everybody's packed in and all that stuff.
Dude, Scott and them didn't. They held down that one little section of that room
Yep.
the entire last 2 days.
I think
Every
Scott
time I walked
rented a
past them, they were
vendor
in that
space
same
there.
spot.
I
He might have. I think he rented that table.
Yeah.
Like that table.
That was the Sick Chops vendor space for drinking.
Yeah. I walked past him. I'm like, y'all are still here? He's like, yeah, this is our spot. And I'm like, all right, whatever, dude.
I think this is going to be right up Phil's alley. Phil knows more about this than I do, but this is going to be, we're deviating from the standard questions. What is your favorite musical artist or group / different? What's your favorite song?
Favorite musical artist or group? All right. I don't know how familiar you guys are with modern rap, and I'm not talking about mumble rap
Okay.
because I hold myself to a high standard here when it comes to music because I'm a musician, so I appreciate good music. I would say, all in all, Kendrick Lamar is probably my favorite artist.
Okay.
Are
Do
you
you
guys
know
familiar with
Kendrick
Kendrick
Lamar?
Lamar?
I know who he is. I don't know
Okay.
any of his music.
Yeah, I don't know the music.
I'm more of an old school. I mean, I'm an old school guy across the board, but old school rap, Ice Cube,
Like
West
Biggie,
Side,
Tupac,
West Side
yeah, Ice
Connection.
Cube,
Yeah, that's
Snoop
where
Dogg.
it's at for me.
For sure. I respect that. I just think of like who I could listen to consistently as a modern artist. Because if we want to go back, I mean, I've got a music catalog that, that's a part of what y'all grew up with. So like Nas, like Illmatic and Reasonable Doubt and obviously Ready to Die and Doggy Style and whatever, Lethal Injection, all that stuff. So I know all of the old school music, but I would say Kendrick Lamar is probably my favorite artist as of right now. And then song, it varies. I'm gonna go on my Spotify real quick, and I'm gonna see what
Your
I'm vibing with.
2022 most played.
Yeah, exactly.
That should be something you call everybody out on. They need to.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
What your most played song was?
Yeah.
Played song 2022. We're fixing to
What
ask.
was my
I'm
most-
fixing to ask.
I'd
I'm
be in
fixing to ask
trouble.
Garrett to take a shot at Phil before we get to taking shots.
What am I taking a shot at him for?
You gotta guess what's Phil's favorite artist in the hip hop genre?
I've got to guess that.
Now you just.
Yeah, you gotta guess.
You
it.
already gave him a clue because he could have thought it was classical music. Could have been. I mean, you don't know.
Favorite hip hop artist.
Right.
Okay, so I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess Eminem. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Garrett, he might have the same talent.
I mean, that's not a hard one to guess.
There's
Honestly,
how many hip hop artists out
there's
there?
a lot of art. There's a lot of hip hop artists. I pulled that one out my butt. I just kind of
40-year-old white guy listening to rap. I mean,
no,
float that out there.
Come on.
Yeah, but you roll back.
Come on.
All right, now let's rewind. 25 years to see what happens. What doesn't fit in the trunk of a 70 Dodge Challenger?
2 10-inch Rockford Fosgates in a box.
Are they 10s or 12s?
Yeah,
They
they
were
miss.
10s.
They miss by 5/16 of an inch.
Holy
Which
crap.
means
No, they
you
didn't.
can force a deck lid around that. It will latch, right? But it's not gonna flush out to the tops of the quarters like we would like it to today.
But it also doesn't rattle because there's so much
because there's
pressure
no
on
need
it.
for it to rattle. Oh man, dude,
Did that thing?
Box
Did
is
it
on the
beep?
bottom of the trunk lid.
yeah, Phil, we went to a garage sale and there was a box with
Rockford Fosgates.
Fosgate punches.
Yep.
And we would go. I was the crabbiest fucking kid in the world in the morning. I'm not a morning person, right?
You don't say.
That it changed a lot.
Yeah, right. So we'd be driving to school, and it's like a goddamn rap concert on the way to school every morning. I mean, this shit, it is blowing the windows out of the fucking car for the 15 minutes we're driving to school. And still to this day, I can rap every single lyric to every West Side Connection song ever. Because Phil would just crank it.
Sick.
Everyone.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Honestly, I couldn't tell you my favorite rap song. I'd have to go back and see like what my 2022. There's a new rapper, a modern rapper by the name of West Side Boogie, and I've kind of been on his music real heavy. There's a song called Nonchalant, and I played that song pretty heavily in the late part of 2022. So I'd guess that was probably one of my favorite songs of 2022.
Last up for the standard question before we get to taking shots. What is in your pocket right now? You're at home.
Nothing.
You might not have anything.
Nothing. My phone is right next to me, but that's it.
All
Yeah,
right.
the
Nothing's in my
shoes were a
pocket.
solid pull.
Shoes were a
Yeah,
solid
the
pull.
shoes were cool.
Shoes were cool. Yeah, we'll give
I can show y'all a couple. Actually, hold on. Wait, one second. I got to show y'all one pair. Hold on. So, of all the shoes that I have, and I think I told y'all this, I have a lot of shoes. I have over 365 pairs, right?
That's one
This
for
pair
every
right
day.
here, exactly. I know.
Except on leap-
that was a milestone that I
Not on
wanted to
leap
get
year.
to. Yeah, not a leap year. So this shoe right here is probably one of the oldest pairs, one of two, I think, of the oldest pairs that I've owned myself. It's a Jordan 4 Fire Red. As you can see, the paint is chipping off the midsoles pretty bad. This year, 2011 and 2012, they didn't do a very good job of the paint that they use on the midsoles. So I wore these shoes. I've owned these shoes since my senior year of high school, 2012. And believe it or not, they're in pretty good shape considering, despite the paint on the midsoles. But this is the first shoe that I wore overseas. So I don't think I'll ever get rid of these shoes. I wore these when I went to Saudi Arabia.
That's cool.
Which was pretty cool. So I had to show these off. But I've had those since senior year of high school. And then I've got one other pair that I had since junior year of high school. It was a pair of Jordan 7s. And I still have those. So
What are your thoughts on the hair Jordans? Remember those?
yeah, the Jordan 7 hairs.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I
Those are
actually don't
cool.
have a pair of those. Because those were from kind of spun off from Space Jam, the Bugs Bunny joint. I actually don't have a pair of those. They're hard to find a clean pair on eBay because the material that they used on the toe box is really easily like it could get dirty really easily, and it's hard to find a clean pair for a decent price. So I like them. I want a pair, but I don't have them.
Dude, I mean, we were fortunate, me and Phil, and not you, Josh. You were back in the days of like, I mean, they were like leather lace up, like I don't even know, they were wooden shoes probably.
Yeah, there's
it was like a
Clog.
clog. Yeah,
an apple basket.
but me and
for a
Phil
hoop.
grew up right in that sweet spot, in the late 80s into the 90s of all the badass Jordans.
Yeah.
I'll never forget like walking up to the pencil sharpener in class in a fresh ass pair of
tough.
just strutting in your brand new Jordans.
That was the only reason you'd go to get your pencil
Oh yeah,
sharpened.
yeah.
was
You'd
to show
sharpen
off
that
the
thing down the
dick.
damn eraser.
What was there was a Jordan that was it was almost like the grain, like shark skin or the pebble grain.
Cement.
I don't remember what year. This had to be 95, maybe.
95. So that'd have been before the 11s came out in 96.
It was the 2 hole in the tongue, I think, maybe.
Oh, the 6s.
Okay, maybe the 6s. What year were the 6s?
The 6s came out in 91.
Oh, this is later than that. Then this is later than that. Anyway. One of my best friends. I sat in line with him for like 3 hours. This was in Birmingham, right? I was visiting my grandparents. Went with him. It's a place called Just for Feet. is huge.
Oh,
fucking place.
dude, the Just for Feet was awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, hold on. I picture you wearing like something that looks like bowling shoes.
No, I wasn't
that era. Like
And you're
Hey,
so-
bro,
I think I was
y'all
wearing
might as well
Timberlands,
just-
honestly.
Y'all might as well just box at this point.
think
Y'all
I
are
was-
going at each other.
I think I was probably wearing Timberlands at that point. But anyway, we're standing in line. We waited in line. Michael Jordan was there autographing the shoes.
Yeah.
We stood in line
Are
for
you
like
serious?
3 hours, and he got his shoes autographed. With you had to buy a pair of Jordans and then get them autographed.
Tell me he still has them.
I have no idea. I haven't talked. It was Jeremy Johnson. That was his name. I haven't talked to him probably 20 years.
Dang.
But yeah, sat there and he got them autographed and the thing, and we were just like, "Wow, that's fucking awesome! Wear them, like wear them and show everybody."
damn.
Yeah, for sure.
Could've
And now he's
retired off
probably
of
regretting
those.
that.
Oh,
now
yeah.
he's probably regretting that. And you probably could have sold them joints for mad bread.
Yeah. All right.
Crazy.
So now we go to a new segment we've been trying out. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it makes it to air, sometimes it doesn't. So this is called taking shots. All right. So what we do is we do a little roast basically. So we're going to ask you some questions. You're going to take an answer. If we don't like the answer, we're going to give our version of the answer. Right. And then you get to do the same thing to us. So we're going to ask you a question. We're going to start. This is a trial run right now. Right.
Okay. For example,
For example, what we're going to ask you is, what is your favorite guilty pleasure Netflix show? If you're gonna watch something on Netflix,
is it just Netflix or is it any streaming service?
any
'Cause I can't remember.
streaming
Okay.
service that you would probably rather not anybody know that you're going to tell on a national podcast?
That I wouldn't want to tell. Well, honestly, I don't watch too many of them, so I'm just going to say Law and Order SVU.
Oh,
Dung, dung.
that's my wife's shit there.
And it's honestly all three of them. It's Law and Order SVU, and then Organized Crime, the new one with Stabler when he came back.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So big Law and Order guy. All right.
Yeah.
That's just normal. There's nothing funny about that. So we've got to give our version. If we didn't hear that answer,
Of the show.
Okay.
if we didn't hear that answer, what would we think he spent his time watching? Television show.
I see.
I feel like it's
see.
a decent
I thought-
cover up.
I thought we were only doing cars, but we're doing.
Yeah, we're doing everything.
We're just changing stuff out.
Okay.
If you don't have anything, you don't have anything.
Yeah, I don't know if I can predict TV shows. I mean, that's.
We're talking through it. Man.
I think him and you both have the same kind of guilty pleasure.
You think
And
so?
Yeah, it's I forgot the name of it. All of the beauty pageants.
On what?
Toddlers and tiaras. That's what it
Toddlers
is.
and
Yeah.
tiaras. That's a weird thing for us to be into.
It was mostly a shot at you. But
Okay.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
That's real
It's
weird.
super
Well,
weird.
Josh grew up with a daughter. Maddox
Right.
did the
Yeah, she did the
pageant
pageants.
things.
Yeah, my daughter was
Right.
big
So
into
it's not,
pageants.
it's not like a weirdo thing.
I like.
yeah, I wasn't going that angle.
Okay, that's yeah.
We'll edit that whole part out.
Yeah.
I'm not giving away. I'm not giving away what things that I like because it's if he turns it back around on us, I'm not gonna give any hints. But I would have assumed, man, SVU is really a good one. Fuck, I don't really have anything as far as like entertainment show wise.
Yeah, well, you brought it up, dude.
Well, it was
Okay.
it was a question. It was
already
down
written
there.
Because
down.
I was prepared for the car thing. I thought this is a fucking podcast about cars. We build cars. I thought that's where you're going with it. And then you throw this curveball.
We both have the same
Yeah,
sheets
but
of paper.
you know I don't read anything.
Okay.
We had to bump this.
All right. So we're gonna pivot this a little
so
bit.
funny.
I mean, like normally we talk about hobbies. What you got? You got something?
Yeah, I'm going back to the fucking cars.
Go to it. then.
Okay, so we know the vehicle that you currently drive. Usually we try to guess like the daily driver. You know?
Oh, well, you know that.
We know.
So
that.
we know it. So let's go with some hypotheticals. What maybe you would want to drive or other vehicles you desired to drive before maybe your fame and fortune. You know, something that you would have loved to have gotten your hands on. That would be a daily.
Okay.
That fame and fortune is very loose, but I get it.
Yeah, we'll leave it. Yeah, we're just kind of.
Yeah. All right. So what would the daily be if it wasn't the Escalade?
Are you gonna guess beforehand? Or are you gonna let him answer?
No, I've got two. I've got two in mind, And there's some theory behind it, because the Escalade, it kind of gave me a little background that you like a stock vehicle that already has a performance platform that can be built on, right?
Okay.
Right.
And it brings up two vehicles, all right? So I've got the Mercury Marauder, because it was a fast-ass production car.
This is a race car 4-door.
And the Trailblazer SS, because that is like the most widely turboed, like fast street.
I see the Trailblazer.
Sleeper.
I see
the
the
Trailblazer is
SS.
it's like the predecessor to the Cadillac, the CTS.
A little shorter, but yeah, still it's 6.0 factory.
That's wild, because it's my dad actually had an Isuzu Ascender, which was a cousin.
Say a fucking Amigo.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing.
So he had an original. He had a 93 Isuzu Rodeo that he put like 200,000 miles on it. And then the oil pump went out. And this is such a tangent, but I remember when the oil pump was going out, we would have to, we couldn't stop at yellow lights, because every time we come to a light, the oil pressure would drop and the motor would lock up.
You just kick it in neutral. I had that with a Chevy truck. Kick it neutral, and bring the RPMs up. It spins that pump a little faster.
It was like a game. Every time that thing we'd come to a light, we'd hope that thing would shut off. And I remember one day it shut off and we couldn't get it fired back up, and that was the day we had to get it towed. But yeah, my dad had an Isuzu Ascender, which was the same body style as the Trailblazer SS, and I used to mob the heck out of the thing. It had the 4.2 liter inline six. I used to beat the heck out of that thing. I love that thing. But yeah, I mean, the Marauder is actually was a good guess, man. And I thought you were gonna go off of that and piggyback a little older back and say one of my dream cars.
Impala SS.
Impala SS. Exactly. 100%.
We've got one in the parking lot. That thing chops like crazy too.
Is it a 96?
No, that's the new.
No. You're talking about Turtle. He's talking about Turtle side.
Gotcha.
I'm talking B body. I'm talking B body.
Because they only made them in two colors
and black.
Yeah, the maroon.
Well, three. It was 94 was all black. Yeah. 94 was just black, and it was column shift, and it was digital gauge cluster. 95 was the same thing, but they offered them in 95. I think you could get them in the gray. And the black.
There was the greenish gray.
Yeah, exactly. And then 96 was the column shift with the analog gauge. You get them in dark cherry metallic, black, and whatever that green gray was.
I think that vehicle was recalled because people were just falling asleep at the wheel.
It's the most comfortable thing. It's a couch.
Yeah,
I was like sleeping on it. It was driving a couch.
Oh my God.
Those seats are ridiculous.
Yeah, we had a buddy that had one.
Do you remember
that down the highway
when you floored it? Just a slight delay. And the 2-speed downshift.
I don't remember that.
I mean, it was
700 R4.
Yeah, it just hit.
TV cable.
Yeah.
A lot of adjustment.
Yeah. That good old OptiSpark LT1.
Yeah.
I gotta have one though. I gotta have one.
Right,
but I would do an LS3 swap in a 480 and call it a day.
That's when we get regular. It's a once a month email. Do you build a chassis for
Impala SS?
Yeah.
That's a unibody car, right?
No, it's a full frame car.
Yeah. Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Potential
product line.
Well, there you go. When I get one, I'm gonna call you guys. I'm be like, I need a chassis for this thing.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't be.
I'll bet you get.
Wouldn't be that bad.
I'll bet you get some tire under that thing.
For sure.
Wide car.
Yeah.
For sure. I'll send the car up to you guys. You can scan it, do all the R&D.
Has anybody ever properly built one of those? Like, dropped it right stance, right?
Oh yeah, there's a good bit of them. Yeah, that's a good bit of them because they make I forget who makes a control arm, because I don't know if you guys remember, but the problem is when you see guys when they put bigger than like a 20 or a 22, the way that the tire would sit, it would sit too far forward into the wheel well. So like the first quarter of the wheel would be tucked into the wheel well.
In the rear or the front?
In the rear.
Okay.
So you had to get an extended lower control arm that would push the tire back center in the wheel well. That's kind of like the first mod you do if you put bigger tires.
Second
put bigger
mod
wheels on
is
those things.
replacing U-joints.
Yeah.
And the third is to get rid of the OptiSpark.
Yeah.
LT1.
All right.
All right. So how does this shot thing work? Or we just kind of free ball?
You fire back.
You fire back. We talked about daily drivers or alternate vehicles. It's one of us.
So now then I got to ask you guys a question.
You pick.
Well, if you need to build yourself like some background
if you
information.
if you want to ask a couple of questions to get a little
or just
okay. So I'm guessing I'm asking each one of you what your daily would be. Well, I'm guessing what it would be.
You're guessing. You're throwing the shot.
Okay. All right. Trying to think of a lead-in kind of question to kind of get some information from you. Do you guys obviously prefer American vehicles over foreign as a daily driver?
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter, but yeah, it is. To narrow it down on my end, it's an American vehicle.
Okay.
Not that I prefer it, but that's just what it is.
Mine is not.
Phil's is not. Mine is.
Yeah.
Right.
Phil, I, for whatever reason, feel like you're a BMW 3 Series kind of guy.
That's really fucking good. It's
close.
Real close.
Pretty close.
Real close.
Okay.
Yeah.
How far off am I?
In the same country.
Yeah.
Okay. So
same country. Bring it up currently. Like
there's only two other brands to choose from. So then I'm gonna go with my favorite German brand, which is Mercedes.
Off all the other direction.
Dude, you veered left when you should have gone right.
Yeah.
Dang it! It was an Audi. Dang. That's crazy.
He's close though. You looked.
I wanted an M3, but you couldn't find him anywhere.
Yeah, so. He looked heavy on the.
Like an E92, the V8 one.
Yeah, or the new one's pretty badass with the fucking
the F90s or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you daily?
It's a 06 A4
pearl white. Two-tone.
Yeah.
He's rocking
it's actually pretty badass.
The shooting brake, the fucking wagon.
Oh, it's a wagon.
Yep.
Sick.
It's shaggin' wagon. Chicks dig
That's the most Midwest thing you could ever do. Is have an all-wheel drive wagon. That's sick. I love it. Okay. All right. So
he got real close.
Yeah.
I did get close. I got in the German realm. Okay.
He picked favorite artist.
Yeah, he nailed.
He got real close.
Favorite
to the car.
artist. I feel
Phil's
like
gonna be predictable.
Yeah.
Like Tim Strange, fucking
got the frat
punched
boy.
his ticket too.
Tim Strange guessed it too.
Tim Strange guessed that he was a frat boy.
Oh. I can kind of see it, I guess. I don't know. That's funny. Tim Strange is hilarious. That dude is so funny. You know, a quick little Tim Strange story. He gave me crap about wearing joggers, like sweatpants joggers. He said any person that leaves the house in sweatpants is giving up on life. I said, sir, you just don't know what comfortability is.
Yeah, I don't disagree with him on that.
Yeah, but Tim's still wearing like pleated gerbots. You know,
there's a difference between sweatpants and joggers.
Yeah,
completely different.
There's a complete difference.
Do you want to tell him about the sweatpants situation here, Josh? At all? You want to talk about that?
Absolutely not. Why would that was the most horrible thing we could ever talk about?
Why?
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of something different. Go ahead. Talk about the sweatpants situation here.
Oh, I mean, I consider what you've worn to the shop to be sweatpants, which I believe that I made it very clear. Like, I don't have a lot of very like firm rules and regulations here.
Yeah, nor is he judgmental, especially towards you.
But not wearing sweatpants to work, it is. I mean, joggers are different, all right? I get it. I've got some joggers.
When have I wore sweatpants?
Dude, you walked the line on Saturdays. You've shown up in what I would consider
joggers.
Possibly sweatpants.
Incorrect. They're joggers. They were bought as joggers. I come here after the gym on Saturdays. I specifically change during the week. There's other people that wear sweatpants.
Who?
Sweatpants.
Oh, sweatpants. Wear sweatpants.
There's a guy nicknamed Sweatpants.
That's where I thought you were. That's absolutely right.
That's hilarious.
But dude, I'm with you. I mean, the joggers, it took me a while to come around to the joggers. But
that's comfortable.
Bro, they are comfortable, dog. I mean, that's what I'm wearing right now. They're sweatpants, but they got the cuffed bottom that are basically make them a jogger. Now, I don't know how people wear sweatpants that just have like the flowed open bottom. That's weird.
Yeah.
Our big problem here, and I'm sure it's everywhere, is at the schools, is the fucking pajama pants.
Oh yeah,
That's what's a problem. That's
a
something
problem.
that's something that
like
shouldn't
a flannel
pajama pant.
Yeah,
And,
that's like Ice Cube and Friday. Well, not
Yes.
Friday, but Ice Cube and Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
When he walked out in the house shoes and the pajama pants. That's when you're giving up on life.
I'm gonna come clean on something. I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit of a guilty pleasure here.
He likes him a good pajama.
And I
pants.
shouldn't, right? Because I got some Lululemon sweatpants and
Oh God, you
I
could have kept that one to yourself.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
with you on that,
right?
100%.
But when it's a lazy Sunday morning, and there's nothing better than like the cheapest, shittiest pair of like
Target
flannel shitty pants.
I'm with you. I wear those too, but you know where I don't wear them?
Yeah, in public,
Out of the house.
Right.
That's the problem that we've got at this school.
Be honest with you guys. I think it was at Barrett Jackson the first time I've ever heard that there's a men's version of Lululemon anything. I did not know that was a thing. I thought that was only a woman's apparel brand.
No, dude, they build the yoga pants with a little bit of a bulge sewn into them. Right?
Oh my God. That's
Right,
funny.
Josh?
Yep, they do. There's nothing I can say about that. They do. And they are fucking comfortable.
Well, hey, listen, I'll take you guys' word for that. That's one level I won't cross over into, I don't think.
Yeah, we're gaining all kinds of street cred here.
I don't wear yoga
How did we
pants,
get here?
But I wear.
How did we get here?
We started talking
I don't
about
know.
daily drivers.
Okay.
And then it turned into...
So we were transitioning from Phil, which we were close.
Yep.
Okay, so 3 Series, he drives an Audi 8. He drives an Audi. Okay, so Josh, I'm going to say you drive I'm going to say you drive a Tahoe.
Did
Yeah, I had a Tahoe. My wife had a Tahoe.
Okay.
And
You had a Tahoe,
I had a Tahoe as well. Forgot about that. Yeah.
All right. And Jeremy, I'm going to say you are more of a truck guy. I say you have a Silverado.
it's pretty good, dude.
Yeah.
It depends on the day because some days it's a Silverado, some days it's a GMC.
Some days it's an Uber.
Some days it's an Uber. Yeah, I'm an elusive one. I mean, I drive whatever the hell's got the keys in it. I like to just throw shit in a vehicle.
But technically, the
Respect.
dually that you drive the most is a Silverado.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. Dude.
Yeah, it's really.
Yeah.
You across the board, you did well.
He's got
Nice.
he's got the talent.
I've got an inside guy there. That's funny.
Last but not
Awesome.
least, because we know your alternate hobbies. So one of the we do this a lot with guests because we generally know guests very specifically to this industry, right? We might know them very well, but we also don't know what their individual hobbies are. We happen to know what your hobby is in addition to what this industry is. So pretending that doesn't exist,
Sure.
we're going to guess what this still could be. He just doesn't want anybody to know about it.
The gun thing's a cover for what is that?
The gun thing's a cover for the real hobby, the real thing. I'm gonna go.
I got one.
I'm going with this. I think this may be not a full hobby, but just to get a win, I think that you personally have sat down with a little bit of downtime. You have built a model car in the last 24 months.
I don't have the patience. I don't.
Damn.
I don't have the patience.
I took a shot.
I don't have the patience, bro. I honestly do not have the patience. I remember back in high school, I tried to do a model from scratch. Like I did the painting everything, and bro, I about blew my brains out. I couldn't do it. It was too tedious.
Hey, every now and then.
But I respect. I would love to be that guy. That's my dad. My dad is more of that meticulous. I can't do it.
I took a shot. Sometimes you miss.
Yeah.
You did.
You got something?
I've been bouncing around. I had the one that I thought was funny, and then I got the one that I think could possibly actually be. So
Throw both of them out there. I'm down.
all right. So the funny one, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, hey, he's into all this old school stuff. Like he digs the old shoes, and he's into that '90s era stuff. So he's probably got like a Pogs collection.
Pogs?
Yeah, Pogs.
I don't know what Pogs are.
It was
I don't know what is that.
very.
I know what the acronym stands for.
Very small.
But I don't think that's what you mean.
Very small window.
He's thinking something
Different
that's not-
website.
Right. No.
I'm thinking of something
All
different.
right, listen. Very small.
POG.
very small window that the Pogs were popular. They would come, they were like these little round discs.
Okay.
Like basically coins, like cardboard coins.
Did they fly or jump?
No, you would stack, you'd get together with your buddies. They would come in like a baseball card type thing.
Okay.
And then you would have a slammer, they called it.
Okay.
The slammer
Okay.
was like, if you had a badass slammer, that thing was like 1/4 inch thick. And you would stack up your Pogs and you just...
Do you know the Pog thing?
I do.
It was, dude,
It's
it was
coming back to me
Oh,
now.
no,
but-
anything.
Yeah.
I don't know what that
All right,
is.
such
I don't know what that is.
a small era, right?
Okay.
It was, I think it was
Okay.
like a 6-month period that they were popular.
Okay.
I gotta Google that now.
Disappeared.
That's my homework. I gotta do.
Yeah, Google it. But the thing
All
that
right.
I think is like could actually be, I think classic 90s Wheaties boxes. Like MJ, Rare, like there's a room in the basement, a
Wheaties
closet,
boxes.
they're lined up and they're like the hologram, like I'm talking like the badass ones that are worth big bucks.
It's some shit's coming around now. You're starting to get the juices flowing. I guarantee. I don't know the game that you used. Everybody, what was the fucking Pokemon game that people played on their phone?
Like
Pokemon?
Tamagotchis.
no, Pokemon, where they'd go and
Like Game Boys.
Pokemon Go.
no on your cell phone, Pokemon Go, where you'd have to go
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I won't lie to you. I tried that when it first came out, and I was like, "This is stupid."
and okay. Every now and then you just
So-
see like party. You know,
You're gonna
glimmers.
stand. You're gonna stand there. And you're gonna tell me you don't have a single MJ Wheaties.
I do
box?
not.
God,
I do not.
I got like 4
Now
of them.
there's a
Yeah.
guy that has a humongous Jordans collection. He has like over 1,300 pairs of Jordans
Ooh.
or something crazy like that. And he's got like every single pair made or something stupid. He has all of the memorabilia. He has the Wheaties boxes. He has all that stuff. I never got into the memorabilia past shoes.
damn, I was reaching on
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
It was close. And it was a good one. It was a good guess. It was a good guess.
You got something?
I think I got a good one.
Okay.
All right.
So you're into collecting things.
Mm-hmm.
You're into having a lot of those things. You've got a good understanding of social media, but I think there's an alternate personality where in the basement you have a wall of terrariums that is just full of reptiles. And
You think
there's
he's big on reptiles.
Yep.
He's
There's a lot of like salamanders,
rare.
geckos, and he's got a whole nother Instagram channel.
nobody
Yeah.
knows about.
He doesn't show his face in that one. Maybe he's got like a lizard mask or something that he puts on.
That is the most random thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
I mean, you pulled out the shoes. There was no snake skin because, like, you know, you don't want to.
I could see him being a snake guy. I could see him being a snake guy.
It's a wicked boa
I don't
constrictor.
fuck with snakes.
Listen, I'm not going to pull the race card here, but we talked about it before, dog. That is not a black people thing. I promise you that, right? I could not, listen, spiders, no. You know, lizards are cool and all that kind of stuff, but heck no, dog. I couldn't do it.
I was worth a shot. I had the vision. I don't know.
Fucking salamander. I was seeing it there for a second,
Oh man.
like a
That's so
guilty
funny.
little pleasure. Yeah.
All right. So now yours. Go ahead.
Well, I'll say what would have been hilarious if you would have said, like, you like to like free dive or something like that. It's like, you know, it's like throwing all the stereotypes of what black people don't do.
I didn't go there when you first said it. Now I.
All right, so we all took a shot. Everybody missed. What's that one like?
Yeah. There's got to be
What's the
got to be a hobby that's something you're
Yeah,
into that nobody knows about. That's not guns.
I would say music.
Okay.
I would say music. I have now I don't actually possess the actual albums themselves, but I'm a huge jazz guy.
Nice.
And still that from my dad. Like we were in the car, it was either jazz or talk radio or sports is what we listened to. So jazz was the predominant thing. And so with that being the case, I grew an affinity for it. So I've got every single Miles Davis recorded album like in digital on my laptop. I got almost every project he's ever produced, even the live stuff. So jazz and just music in general is probably my next biggest hobby over everything else that I do.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
I get down with a lot of blues, a lot of vinyl stuff, and I dig jazz, but I just have a hard time. Like I don't know what to go to. You know, like it's.
Yeah.
I always feel like I hear it and I dig it, but I don't
Know
have,
who's who.
yeah,
and try-
right. I mean, obviously Miles Davis. I know he is, but you got to float me some good hits.
I can do that. I can definitely do that. There's a lot of groups. like Pat Metheny, Chick Corea. There's a lot of groups that are, because you have the newer age jazz that is kind of like what they call, what do they call it? It's not like the contemporary jazz that you think of. It's more of a smooth jazz. There you go.
Sure.
That's kind of what it is. So it's kind of it's more of a structured jazz. It's not kind of free form. It's not like improv. It's kind of, it's written. It's kind of like a lyrical like song where like you have lyrics and you have a chorus and it kind of just repeats itself, as opposed to traditional jazz that kind of just like there's a chorus, but the verses are improv. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's the best way to kind of compare the two.
Nice.
Yeah, so I can definitely send you some stuff that I think you would like. That. Yeah, for sure.
Well, Garrett, man, it's been awesome. It's been fun time.
Yeah, it's been fun.
We got to set 100%. It up. You got to come up here. We're going to put you behind the wheel of some cars, and you do some reviews, and then you got to reciprocate, and you got to take us someplace cool to do some shooting.
Hey, that's easy. I can definitely make that happen. And next year, if we don't make it happen before this time next year, I think I told you about my guy that lives out there in Phoenix that has that shooting range underneath his house.
Yep.
And he's got that whole room of full autos. So if it doesn't happen before then, I will bring you guys there this time next year, and we will go shoot all the full autos. It'll be a great time. And you guys just let me know when y'all want me to come up there when the weather clears up, and we'll make some cool content.
Hell
Sounds
yeah,
good,
dude.
man. Let's do it.
It's been awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been great, man. I appreciate you guys. And we'll get together about that chassis for the G-Body, because, again, I need that.
Hell yeah.
We
We got you.
Don't forget
Sounds
to feed
good.
those lizards.
I'll feed them. I got you, bro. I got you.
Crickets or mealworms? Like, what's your go-to?
Something like that. Yeah, mice or something for the snakes, right? Mice for the snakes.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
No problem, man. Y'all have a
All
good
right,
night.
man.
You too,
too.
man.
All right. Peace.
Bye.
Big thanks again to Garrett Reed. Remember, you can catch up with him by checking out his Instagram pages at AmericanMuscleHD, and Garrett is the name. If you'd like us, hop down, leave a rating, a review, a thumbs up.
Smash
the like button.
Comment down below.
All those things.
All of those things. Thanks again for everybody listening to Oil and Whiskey, an Ironclad original. We'll see you again next week.